Because you don't need 20 friends. You just need 3 motherfuckers, and you can take over a country. Okay, that's what we're confused as Americans. We think we need all these motherfuckers. You give me 3 bad motherfuckers, and you're finished. You understand me? You're fucking finished because we got each other.
The following program deals with a controversial subject. The theories expressed are not the only possible interpretation.
The viewer is invited to make a judgment based on all available information.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Wednesday night here on Beyond Wednesday, the premier show on Beyond Wednesday's channel, I would have to say by far right now. And it's just because that just means it's the one I like the most at the moment, which changes all the time because they're all my babies. But this one's a really good one tonight. And something that we've kind of been doing these one-off shows every once in a while. And these degenerates just seem to show up out of nowhere. And it's going to happen quite a bit tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Big Leg, Dinesh, and our first-time guest to the channel, Kasra Ghanbari.
I'm still waiting on the wire transfer for being here. Where's my appearance fee?
You put on a show this last a month that was pretty amazing, man, and a lot of talk about it, some absolutely amazing content coming out of the YouTube world. Swag's going to jump on with us tonight. I'm going to send him a link probably right now. And it's going to be a fun night. We're going to talk a lot about OAX, and we're going to talk a lot about original art. We also have another special guest tonight with us, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Nick Barrucci. Nick, how you doing, my brother?
What's going on, guys? Whoa, let me get rid of these, the old man glasses.
Yeah. How you doing, my friend?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
So, good to see your face, Nick.
Special guest. Gotta hide the special guest.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's
talk
talk about
the plastic bag.
If you guys didn't see it, there was a pretty funny event.
Whoa. Build up, baby. Build up. Hold on. Jesus. You know, Kasra at least is getting paid for this. Since I'm not getting paid, let me get
I didn't get the wire.
Plug going there.
You're talking to a guy who can stretch a story over 6 issues, so he's right.
Yeah. Listen. I'm sure that if Brian promised you a wire, it'll be there. Okay?
Yeah, I blame this guy.
I got that one, Kasra. That one landed for me.
That intro with you smoking, man, that made me so jealous. I love that. Could you imagine Bill Cox? Can you imagine Bill Cox doing that?
I saw him tonight. He was live tonight, and I dropped in to say hello. I would love to get him on here. And as a matter of fact, we need to meet up sometime and have a smoke session, all of us together, right? I can imagine doing that.
Well, my favorite part about tonight's show was some of the art that Anthony was selling was stuff that I traded with him. And all I heard on Friday when we were doing the trade was, I can't even get anywhere near that. I'm not going to get. And everything he had on the air was exactly what I told him I thought it was worth. So he beat me up, The Greek beats up the Italian again. What are you going to do?
Vinny, how you doing, my brother? How is Grammy? Post-Grammy festivities at the Kumar household?
It's cool, man. It's cool. Yeah. Just got back. I got a little sick at the end of it all. So, yeah.
What's up, Vinny?
What's going on, man?
Jesus, it's good to
all
listen.
Right, so OAX, I couldn't go. Dealing with some, I don't know, diamond stuff, which has been a lot of fun.
Look at you.
Amongst other stuff, and it was really, this guy really wants to jump in. It was really rewarding seeing how much fun everybody was having. People kept in touch via Facebook. I got so many texts, so many messenger messages, Instagram, all my social media. Nick, here's this great Carmine Infantino flash. Do you want me to get it for you? And here's this great this, and here's this great that. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like,
Nick, there were more photos of you out of OAX than me.
So what I'll say is I couldn't be there, but there was somebody that was there in my place, and he ran around so quickly. There was so much great art. Even he got tired. He ended up staying at one booth. Here's the man who showed up in place of me.
Look at that. Yeah. That was
you got that
funny.
Adam Hughes outline even. Look at that.
Yeah, right? Nah, it was a stressful time, and I couldn't make it down there. And I got to tell you, Tom McDonald made this to put out there. And the funny thing is that he ordered it 6 feet tall, and they sent him 60 inches. And the woman said, "Oh shoot, you're right. We'll overnight you another one." So there were 2 of them hanging out there.
There was a mini me, wasn't there? It was a mini me.
Yep. And there you go. And they did a video, which was great. The 2 of them with Steve Lipsky. And, this really does inspire me to start working out again.
I wouldn't think you'd be that fast, actually. But hey, here we are.
You look good, brother.
I'm used to just seeing your head, man. So
well, there you go. They did this really funny video where Mike walks in while Steve and Tom are talking. Mike is like, how's everything going? Lipsky's like, where's Nick? I thought he'd be here. Mike says, oh, he's not coming this year. And Tom goes, oh, no, I got him at the airport. He's right here. And they go to the Flash. But that was really cool. I ended up getting a phone call from Ken Wall, Wise Guy, which was like 38 years, my favorite all-time TV show. I get a phone call from Ken Wall. That lifted my day. So, but the most important thing that lifted my day, I mean, this was great, but seeing everybody having so much fun, going to the original art page, looking at everybody's social media, it was just really nice that everybody made the most of it. And I just think that it's really, I think it's really great that all the hard work that Bill, Kasra, Maureen, everybody put in, how awesome it was. And that, this is the ultimate Disney. I mean, you guys are right there at Disneyland and Universal, but it is the ultimate original art show. And I'll tell everybody.
Nice.
That is.
There we go.
Day 2 when I was not there.
Yeah.
What I'll tell all the fans here is go there if you can, even with a limited budget. I know that everybody likes to show the expensive stuff, but you can pick up original art for $100 to $200, and you can pick up original art for hundreds of thousands of dollars. But just go there, get exposed to the original art. This is the premier art show in the world, in my opinion. And what these guys did last year, it was fantastic. This year they stepped it up and didn't make it just about comic art, even though there was a good focus on comic art. I don't think that's coming from me.
That was me.
Even though there's a big focus on comic art, but they expanded to cards, to fine art. They had some great artists there. It's just a great time, and it's a great time to be there. I mean, next year it's going to be in February, and if the growth this year from last year is any indication, next year is going to be even bigger. There you go, Amir's. I think that's Amir's booth, right?
Yeah. This is our boy Swag, who should be coming on soon, sometime tonight. And,
anybody know how much he had the Daredevil at?
I think it was 600. Vinny, do you remember?
Which one? Which one was it?
The Frank Miller?
Jeez.
No, I don't remember.
It's crazy how this is a week apart from MegaCon.
Yeah.
You know, especially for traveling. Like from California, I'm not making either this year. But if I had to choose, I'd have to choose one. You know what I mean?
I think that this year this con has shown that what a big moment this con is every year now. You know,
Right.
This is probably one of the biggest moments in comics, no doubt about it. As a matter of fact, every year, it's become something pretty amazing.
I think it was cool also for, you go to San Diego and you go to New York and you don't really have, there's too much stuff to focus on. There's there's variants, there's Funkos, there's toys, there's
Slave layers.
yeah, there's just too much stuff going on. I think here it's nice to just be able to focus on just that original art section, because it's something I never get to do at San Diego, and I've always really wanted to take the time and do it. And here you had way more dealers, and like Nick was saying, I mean, you could find cheap pages, and some of the time I spent there just kind of sort of budget diving and just seeing what I could find, almost like dollar bin digging, but just cheap art digging just to see what I could find. And it was cool. I mean, I didn't get a chance to get through as much as I wanted to, but I did find some cool stuff while kind of digging through there.
Yeah. We're going to get into a lot of the card art stuff and some of the stuff that happened, this year that I think was a real big spotlight on, and some of the main moments. But I just can't believe how amazing it's been. Like I said, this year, the amount of content and really good content about it also goes to show what a big moment this has become. And can you talk a little bit about just give the people the short little bit about this, Kasra, how this started, and what your guys' thoughts are on putting on the con every year?
Well, I guess I can try to be a little history even about the show.
Yeah.
Okay. Bill and I have known each other for about 20 years, just right after he started CAF, and have always been in touch. Would meet up. We're friends. At one time, we were going to publish some books together. And then I moved down to Orlando about 4.5 years ago. Bill moved down about 3 years ago. So we met up again down here. I actually went to CAF's 20th anniversary party up at his place. It's about an hour northwest of Orlando. I'm in Orlando. And he said he wanted to start a show. He's been thinking about it for years. And it was pretty modest. It was a very modest show. Would I make it with him, start the show with him? I said, sure, I got nothing better to do. And we started working on it. And by the time we launched it in June, what is it, 2025 now? So 2023, by June, we ended up going from, maybe a 5,000 to 8,000 square foot space to about a 35,000, 40,000 square foot space. Instead of a dozen artists, we were up to, I think I convinced Bill of 50 at the time, but he was already having panic attacks. We ended up with 60. The first show was end of January 2024. We had 60 artists, about 35 exhibitor booths, all the major auction houses, a lot of the art reps, a lot of dealers, if you call them amateur pro dealers, a little collector's island where we had sort of amateur dealers set up. And our goal was, let's get minimum 250 people there. And I think we ended up, all told, and we don't do like a turnstile thing, like how many people each day and add it up and come up with a fat number. We just add up the attendees, exhibitors, staff with one round number, because everyone there is an art buyer. And I don't remember, I think we were somewhere around 600 the first year, something like that, which is just, it's huge. Now, some people will hear that number and they'll understand it. A lot of people won't. That 600 packed a punch. It was pretty wild. I can tell you, since it's disclosed, give you some objective info. Adam Hughes and Allison had their best show ever. Matt Wagner had his best show ever. Gerhard had his best show ever. It goes on and on and on. It was weird. It was rabid. And it's also very hard to explain, because it's a very experiential show. And we had a few people shoot some video, and it kind of communicated it. We got a little bit lucky, and we knew that we needed to do a lot more of that year two. So year two, if I'm going too slow or going too fast, you tell me, because I can talk about 3 hours on this. But year two, I wanted us to come out with what I really wanted to do with the show, which was make it more an art fair trade show hybrid is the way I describe it, with year two expanding to what the Lucas Museum defines as the narrative arts, which includes illustration, film, television art, storyboards, animation art, and I had sort of designed and branded out sub shows within OAX. So I created and launched the Card Art Expo (CAX) as part of OAX, which focused on Marvel cards predominantly, but Upper Deck has the DC license now, so we're going to be getting a lot of that. And then the Illustration Art Expo (IAX), which covers a lot of ground, but I stuck to ground relevant to our community, which was a lot of the Marvel Masterpiece artists, people that have done Magic the Gathering art, people that have done a lot of covers in the comic book world or adjacent or related worlds. We had Julie Bell, Dave Palumbo, Dan Dos Santos, George Pratt, James Martin, Miles Wohl, who's done a lot of card and sketch card art, but we also had like some hardcore illustration people there, like Korshak Collection and Shasta Phoenix, which is a major family illustration collection. And Marcus Rohrwild from Switzerland brought his European painted sci-fi fantasy cover arts, phenomenal collections, just stuff like this. When we just tried to expand and get the word out and bring the communities together and have more events, VIP reception on Friday, which is sort of, I guess, semi-private. It's a ticket-only thing with all the exhibitors and artists there. 3 hours open bar, food that's decent enough for a hotel. A big auction on Saturday night with food and an open bar again. A little private party at a local bar afterwards with drink tickets if you knew the right people. All that kind of stuff. There's just a lot of weird circulating, orbiting events going on in penthouses and offsite in the villas, and people doing their own little niche things, which is just a dream. Exactly what we wanted. We wanted to kind of build it and then let people branch out and do all kinds of weird, niche, specific, fun stuff.
Yeah.
And, so, 2 years almost to the day, I joined the CEO almost 2 years ago for comic art fans. And this is kind of our Tiffany's flagship. This is what we think it can be in person, model.
Well, it's very interesting, man. And it feels alive. It feels like it's really hitting that peak of where it's a lot of people had eyes on it for a while, and there's a lot of fun to be had in it. And some of the outside eyes looking in too, with a lot of the content showing amazing moments, which Swag did this year with Dinesh, which was awesome. We'll get into that later.
That was fun.
But it just feels fun. It feels like the type of stuff that you want to go to. You want to make it a point to head out to, and there's so many places you can go and find great times and like-minded people and stuff like that at the con. So, but it kind of makes me think to ask, like, Nikki, what was it like in the old school days? I mean, was it just, how did you have this type of thing in the old school days, man, back in the 50s and 60s?
Well, let me get my cane. And
was Jesus as cool as he sounds?
Back in my day. Now, I'll tell you the funny thing is, there's this guy, Alexander. I can't remember his last name. Alexander Osman. Or I really don't remember his last name. Huh?
The Great?
Yeah.
No.
The Great?
No, that was before my time. But no, back in like 1992, what Bill and Kasra have done have really done what people wanted to do. So back in it was probably more like 93, 94. He threw an art convention in New York. I mean, this is the guy who bought the Pit #1 from Dale Keown. He bought the entire book, and I think he paid $50,000 at the time, which was a monster number. And Dale wanted like another $200,000 for the cover, which he decided not to buy. Matter of fact, this was the first guy who bought some of my Marvel Masterpiece paintings. He bought the Wolverine Sabretooth from me. He bought a bunch. So this convention, it was really cool. It was the exception to the rule because there had never been anything like that. And there's hardly been anything like that again, because all the other art shows these days, they may have a few guest artists, 2, 3, 4 guest artists, but this, if you go to San Diego Comic-Con, for example, there's like 2 sections of original art. You could go to the one section where Albert and Bashara, Mike Berkey, and Anthony has one table. Then you could go to the other section where you've got a bunch of the auction houses, Heritage, Comic Connect, Comic Link, but also Anthony has another booth down there. You gotta look for a lot of it. New York Comic Con, it's all concentrated, but there's nothing like this. But 30 years ago, it was a little bit of a scavenger hunt finding the right art dealers. I mean, Jesus, 35 years ago, if you wanted to buy art, you paid CBG to overnight you the comics buyer's guide so that you could go through it right away to try and find the art dealers, what they were selling. And then you had to mail them a check, and you couldn't wait to get the art because they had to get the check, they had to deposit the check had to clear, and then eventually they put it in the mail for you. I think the most important thing about this show is that Bill and Kasra have really made this a community show, and all the artists are cool. And the one thing I'll say is the most personal thing you can ever do with an artist is buy a page of original art. Buying that page of original art from them means not for the financial reason, but it shows an appreciation of all the work they put into it. And it's like they're selling you one of their kids, a piece of their family, that you love that. And what Bill and Kasra have done by making it all about the art, you can actually sit there and have a conversation with Adam Kubert. You can sit there and have a conversation with Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor or Adam Hughes. You don't have 200 people behind you paying $5 or $10 a signature, waiting to get 300 books signed, and you can it's just a really chill show, and it's a lot of fun. And all the artists, it doesn't matter if you're somebody who goes up there and gets a commission or if you're somebody who buys an expensive piece of art, every artist there is just so cool. I mean, the things that I heard, how great, like somebody was telling me like, oh my God, I haven't seen Julie Bell in decades and she's such a sweetheart. Oh my God, it's like, well, what did it's kind of like one of those, did you expect anything different? But, when you're at New York Comic Con or San Diego or a lot of these shows, part of the business of being there is to make money. And since people are getting books signed and a lot of them to sell, there's a little bit of a rush. People are being pushed through. But here it's just nice and relaxed, and you could go from one booth to another and you could just chill. And I know from my experience last year, I was at a booth with like this, I think it was Michael Lovitz's booth. But like there was this little kid who you knew when I say little, I'm probably under 18, so I don't know. But he wasn't spending money. He asked if there was anything under $500, and Michael showed him a few things that were under $500, and then Steve Lipsky showed him a few things. But he wanted to see the expensive art on the wall, and Michael was just like, "Yeah, come on over. I'll show you. You want me to pull anything off the wall for you to look at? I'm happy to." There was no snobbery. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, really? You can't afford this. You just told me you're looking for stuff under $500 and you want to look at my $30,000 cover now? It was like, no, here, happy to show you. Because you know what? What these guys do with the original art community is grow it. And I said this to Kasra, I said this to Bill. Year 1 and year 2 were our show, where it was going to grow in year 2, but not be so big where we couldn't enjoy it. But year 3, it's just going to grow exponentially. And, eventually, I think they're always, because of where their heart is, obviously they need to make money. They are running a business. They do have employees. But where their heart is to make sure that the show stays a community show, even as it grows. And even with the growth this year, I think Kasra said they had like 12 artists last year, and this year they had 60.
Yeah.
Not being here, but even with a bigger crowd, having 60 artists, you can still find time to talk to everybody.
I think my favorite part about it is, and me and Dinesh, we were talking at some point about the war stories, right? All the little stories about where this art comes from, who had it before, how they got it, all these stories. And it feels like you're fostering a place that also has those stories. There's all these places to go. Dinesh, you were kind of that was kind of a part of this.
I love those stories. I love them so much.
I mean, like the whole
Even that kid story just now, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, right. I mean, the whole swag thing was very interesting, and that was war stories right there, right? How the deals went down, and I'm sure there's tons of those in what's going on. And ladies and gentlemen, Mike Hansen joins us. What up, Mike? Zatari.
Hey, Mike.
What's up, guys?
We talked about, we were showing your guys' booth, Dinesh and Mike, and who else did you guys have that was there at your guys' booth?
Vinny, Amir, Yaniv, Carl Choi,
Amir,
Aaron,
Jesse,
Needles, Jesse, Pedro. We had a huge group.
There's about a dozen of us.
Yeah.
It was big time.
It was absolutely.
We got some hate
unreal.
for it, but it was awesome.
What do you mean? Why did you get hate for it?
There's a certain dealer that doesn't like our group very much. I think he doesn't want us to be doing anything like that.
Our booth, because we're all collectors and we have a lot of collector friends, and because our booth is full of our own personal collection, so it's stuff that isn't out there a lot. We had a lot of people at the booth for most of the show, and there was a dealer whose booth was quite empty for most of the show, and I think he got a little upset about that.
Yeah.
Yes, he was over 60.
All right, guys, no fishing. Come on, we're talking about the positives. Let's focus on the positives.
All good.
The positive is it was great to have a booth. The other guys in the group, I can say personally, the other guys in the group were really keen on it. I was a little skeptical because I do so many booths with bad idea. I was like, I just want to hang out. But man, it was fun because it became a hangout spot. And all the other collectors came and they were like, hey, I brought some art. Do you want to see it? Yeah, hell yeah, I want to see your art. And we just hang out and see each other's art. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool.
That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened year one, Dinesh. That the Collectors Island tables were a hangout, and then just something as small as I put a bunch of high top tables right around the collectors. It's the smallest stuff like that, just so people could hang out and interact a little bit more. Yeah.
So it's the best part of the show. I mean, it's great buying art. It's great seeing the art. But man, meeting the other collectors, because you never get to do that. We never have
the best part of the show. It's the best part of the show. Last year, I sort of surprised people, and I said it was a show that we constructed where the collectors were on par 50-50 with the talent.
Yeah.
And the truth is, they're actually more important is maybe the bad way to phrase it. But you come there for your 5, 10, 15 art reasons, but you want to stay 3 days longer because of the collectors.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Kasra, I came in a day early, so I was there on Friday, and like a lot of buddies went out and had a great time. I was like, I'm going to post up in the hotel lobby. So I grabbed a table. I spent 12 hours in the lobby, like 12 hours just sitting in a hotel lobby, hanging out with like 5 portfolios of art, just sitting there, and people were just nonstop for 12 hours. I was like, holy smoke.
Yeah,
I was so exhausted, but it was awesome.
Nick, you were sorely missed, Nick. But Nick, year one was like holding court in the bar area till like 3, 4 in the morning, and he just had people riveted. Yeah,
those are my favorite.
No, it was cool.
moments.
Everybody brought their portfolios out on that first day because I was around. I was doing some work, but then I came downstairs. But tons and tons of portfolios. It was like a big show and tell down there. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of pictures of that. That looks.
The other thing about art dealers is all of them are collectors. I can't think of one art dealer who is not a collector. And that also, you do have at a comic convention a lot of retailers that, I don't know, can be a little jaded, but like it doesn't matter if it's somebody like Albert or Berkey who have been doing this for decades, or Bishara. If they see something they like, they'll buy it, but they also just still connect with everybody like a collector. And that's what really just the positive energy. Trust me, it was so hard for me not to go to this show, but the
Look at that.
diamond stuff, and then I had a friend who died, so I had to help his
gosh.
sister with the funeral.
I'm sorry.
So, I mean, look, it happens. I mean, it's not trying to be blasé about it, but like I said, that's why seeing the pictures, Tom and Michael, that was really uplifting, them sending me that video and the picture, but just seeing everybody having a good time, and just seeing everybody making the most of it, and just whether people bought or traded, just photos of art or photos of people holding the art. I mean, it's just, it made me feel like I was there, even not being there, because I mean, there's no other show where you're seeing it and all of a sudden you're like so happy for everybody else. Although I wish that Daredevil wasn't out of my price range.
Dude,
But
look at Brian, look at that picture alone. So look at those two like side by side there. If you zoom out, I mean, you're talking about a few $1 million of art there.
Yeah.
That's insane. Like it's insane.
It's beautiful is what it is. It's gorgeous.
There's a Watchmen cover in there. There's a Sandman 1 page in there.
Yeah.
I mean, the X-Men cover just won. Is that the one that just won Best of for CAF for 2024?
The Cockroom 98 cover, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the
there
that
it
was
is.
voted right there. Second row, second in.
With
That
the
was just voted
Sentinels.
best cover of the year for
Yeah.
all CAF submissions.
Beautiful.
Doesn't suck.
Yeah.
So cool.
I always just key in on this Barry Windsor
Dude.
piece. I can't. That's
Oh.
amazing.
Barry and then Todd right next to it with 290.
Yeah, why are we ignoring Spidey 299?
Yeah, it's like
Meh.
Yeah.
It's too much good
load.
stuff.
Yeah.
there's more Todd covers than there are Cockroom covers. I mean, it's as simple as that. Or at the very least, hold on, let me take that back. There's more Todd Spider-Man covers than there are Cockroom X-Men covers.
Yeah, it's X-Men 290 or 266 there. So
Well,
first Shang-Chi.
These are the two beasts, right? That everybody immediately keys in on for modern stuff.
Yeah.
I think that the key about this year's event is it really did show that it's not just about the comic art, and there's other avenues and other cool little mines that you can go mine, and you can find cool stories and find cool pieces. And this year the card art stuff was kind of also took center
Other
stage
level.
with a lot of the big pieces, which was absolutely amazing to watch. And I was kind of talking recently about how a lot of that stuff is very it's very affordable still. I mean, just the video that Swag put out where he's talking about the prices of some of those pieces. I mean, you can work your way up to some of those pieces, just like I think we talked about with Nate not too long ago on the show about old school G.I. Joe art, right? You can find old school G.I. Joe art. That would be a cool avenue to search for. So, and that's kind of where one of the things you're into, Kasra, is the card art and maybe other avenues, right? Can you talk a little bit about some of the importance on that this year's con?
Card Art Expo was kind of a big deal. So, I knew I wanted to make it a narrative art show. So illustration art was going to be big, but card art is a component of illustration and comic art. It's kind of a hybrid of the two. And it gave me a lot of opportunities to, in a sneaky or clever or predictable way, support the start of the illustration art show, because Marvel Masterpiece artists they're killer illustrators, but they're worshipped by card collectors. And then a guy like me, I don't try to use myself as as a primary example, but there are plenty of guys that I was like a painterly guy. Like I grew up loving Kent Williams and Jeffrey Catherine Jones, John Muth, George Pratt, that whole school. I liked painted works in comics, painted covers especially. And, the card art world is basically a whole bunch of killer illustrators dipping their toes or committing to doing, large amounts of painted single and 2 and 3 figure Marvel art predominantly, right? And it's just, this shit's amazing. It's amazing. A lot of times we have a little bit of a insecurity in the comic world, like we don't deserve that artist or we don't deserve that artist, and there's none of that in the card world. Upper Deck went to town for many years with their brands, and that's going to continue. So, and those guys, the community, I tapped into the community only about 18 months ago, and I just found the community to be amazing, absolutely amazing, dedicated, amazing people. And I love sketch cards. I kind of fell in love with the sketch card format, and I want to deploy that format as a tool, as a weapon, as like a way of removing some of the inhibitions to this weird, wacky, dense, crazy world, and get people to collect art. It's just an easy way to do it. So it just worked out all around, and it worked out, as far as I could tell, it worked out beautifully. There are card people that are buying comic art. There are comic art people buying card art. They're going into the illustration world. And what I like a little bit of that. Well, this is what this price point and this price point and this price point can get me in the comic book world, or in the Bronze Age, or in the 90s era, or in modern art, or this is what it can get me in the card art world, or this is what it can get me in the illustration world. I like that. I don't look at that as chaotic. I've been that way for 20 years. Yeah. I love it.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. One of the people that we loved, Clutch. But by the way, shout out to Clutch, who's in MegaCon right now.
Nice.
We got some fun stuff to talk about here in a little bit to show you guys with him and our buddy Drew at Wanted Comics. But with Leg and the old school Flipside days is Mikey Halprin. And Mikey Halprin used to always, he was kind of like this light bulb of the collecting world that, totally. His personality was just great, but he was so smart on like finding different avenues and cool things to collect. And he was very out in front of a lot of stuff. And it's how I've met a lot of, or not just met, but became better friends with a lot of the friends I'm friends with now. A lot of the guys on this channel right now. Mikey's a big part of that. And he was always into finding those crazy things like anime art, early card art stuff. He was, big into different collecting fields. And I think that it was kind of cool to talk about Mikey anytime we do that. Dinesh, you were good friends with Mikey. It was kind of a bummer not being there, huh?
Dude, you can't not think about it. I think it came up like 10 times in our booth, because Jim's there as well. His dad's there, and Mikey would have loved it. Kasra, Mikey would have loved everything you guys are doing. He would have loved it so 100%. Much. You're right, bro.
That's very nice of you to say.
Come on, everyone loves it, but Mikey.
Maybe if there was a mechanical bull in the middle. Then it really would have taken it to an 11. You know what I mean?
Sounds
he
good
still
to
has
me.
the record. As of last year, I went in. He still has the record.
Legend.
That bar.
Yeah.
There's a
Did
moment.
we tell this story? Do we ever tell
ahead.
this story on? Go ahead, Dinesh.
At San Diego Comic-Con 3 years ago now, Mikey and I went out to meet a bunch of his friends that were like in collecting. They were cell collectors. Went to this bar. I can't remember what it is. Nikki, you're going to know what it is. The bar at San Diego Comic-Con that has the mechanical bull.
Oh, yeah. We stayed right above it every year.
I've actually never been there.
It's awesome. It's full of bachelorette parties. So we go, we get drunk. Okay. Mikey likes to do shots of tequila. Just straight shots of tequila all night long. We did like 12 shots of tequila. We wander into the bull room. All these girls are doing the bull riding. It's like 10 seconds, 15 seconds maybe, because it's hard, man. This thing's bucking. It's throwing you off. Yeah. And I convinced Mikey, who's drunk, I convinced him that a bachelorette party wants him to go up there shirtless. Not allowed shirt. That's the only rule. And
see, I would know. Hold on, real quick. I would know Dinesh was lying to me if he said that to me, because shit, I don't want to see myself shirtless.
Well, tequila's in though. I don't know. Maybe I'm convincing. He goes up there. He sets the record because he's a yoga Pilates guy. 3.5 minutes.
Yeah.
He's up there. People are screaming, "Oh my God, 30 seconds, 40 seconds." It's a minute and a half. What can you get? We're getting bored. I swear, I think he threw it at the end, but he was so good, so strong. 3.5 minutes.
Wow.
He was silent. He just shut the bar down because everyone's like, "What is going on here?"
He was really into anime art, and there was a moment in this video with this piece right here. Can you guys talk about this?
Mike, what do you talk about this?
Yeah, that's from Joker's Favor. So that's the first Harley Quinn animated episode. Those cells are fantastic. And so I think I got one of my first cells through Mikey as a result of this. But this is really when you think about Harley Quinn's first appearance. You know, obviously in comics it's BA-12, but she shows up a year before in the animated series, and this is from that first scene she's in. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, man, this is nuts. This is really cool. This is the type of stuff that I'm talking about that I think is fun, really fun to talk about. Finding these different avenues of collecting and you know, the hunt, the treasure hunt. It feels like comics is a lot about a treasure hunt. You start off even at a young age, and it's a treasure hunt just to get any comic, and then you get older, and it's a treasure hunt to find, you know, keys and comics and high grade stuff, and the treasure hunt just continues, and that's kind of the funnest part about it. And that's another part of war stories in comics. I'd love to hear some crazy treasure hunting stories that maybe would have come up at the con.
Let me just head out. I want to say two things before I head out. One, just Kasra, Bill, I want to thank you guys for everything you do for the community. From not only comicartfans.com, having it there, having the foresight to have the show, but having all the live streams you do that invites everybody. I mean, everything from dueling dealers to claim shows to the amateur dueling dealers to making the whole community feel a part of it. Everything these guys do is heart and soul to grow the hobby. And I got to tell you, I have a feeling that there are three things that propelled this hobby. eBay propelled the hobby because people before eBay, there was no like, oh, this is the average price this could go for. People started seeing eBay as a barometer of what original art could be. Heritage and the auction sites, and comic art fans, and I put comic art fans up there with the auction sites and with eBay because that's the community. I got to run because I just heard a rumor that I let go of 80% of my staff last week.
Oh, so wonderful. Have fun, brother.
Yeah, I mean, I wish somebody would have told me. I don't even know.
I mean, just because it was 70% doesn't mean it's a rumor.
I mean, come on, get the numbers right.
Yeah, it's like, hey, IDW let go of people today. Dark Horse let go of people. I heard like literally that email just came in. I heard a rumor you let go of the majority of your staff. I'm like, where the heck did that come from? So
Bleeding Cool, that's where it came from.
Life is what was that?
Bleeding Cool, that's where it came from.
All
right, Nikki, man.
No, all kidding aside, it just that actually is a real email that came in. But outside of that, Kasra, man, keep up the great work. I know you don't need to hear me say it.
Good to see your face.
Take care. Hey, Brian, thanks for bringing them on. Take care, everybody.
See you, bud.
Later, Nick.
So I was going to mention.
Thank God he's gone, right? Jesus.
Love Nick.
Small dose Nick. Small dose Nick.
Yeah.
I heard he laid off 80% of his staff today.
Small dose Nick. I heard small something.
That guy's ruthless. He lets everybody go and comes on and just acts.
Just having a good time, man.
All day. Slow Wednesday.
Oh, Brian, I was going to mention that. So you were asking about kind of like stories and stuff like that from the show. So that cell, that Harley animated cell, actually, I was the guy who brought it is one of our friends, Pedro. The thing is, a lot of us brought stuff that we had no intention of selling. You know, so
that's what I was going to ask. If that booth, if not just your guys' booth, if a lot of stuff on there was that way, or if that's how the whole con is. So
no, it's not like that. I mean, so there was stuff on sale, right? But then it was a collective of us, and some of us might have brought stuff to trade, or may have just brought like a separate folio of stuff to just show people, things like that, right? So
usually people bring two. They bring one portfolio like, this is what I'm selling, and the one where they're like, this is the stuff I love and I want to show it off, which is cool.
So Pedro had this priced, and then he told me at the beginning of the day, he's like, I don't really want to sell it, and I see it and I'm like, I kind of want to buy it, and I kind of want to buy it for that price that you have it at, but you said you don't want to sell it. So, like all day long, I was just negotiating with him, and I ended up like paying more than the price he had it listed for initially at the beginning of the day. But it was awesome though. It was just like, because it was kind of like, I don't really want to let it go, but I got it priced. Like, should we trade something? Should we figure something out? And literally from like, 10:30 in the morning till like the show closed, we finally figured out a deal, and we ended up doing it. But I was super happy to get it. This is my first sell. I had really no, I didn't have like a lot of knowledge about cells. I just thought this was a really cool one. So,
Wow, bro.
yeah.
And didn't it come, Vinny? You got the sketch with it, right?
Yeah, as a sketch.
So the way, I mean, you guys might know this, but like with cells, a lot of times there's like, I forget what it's called. Neve has like a specific name that it goes by, but like the sketch, like the art before it gets colored in by a separate person. So if you can find the matching like sketch plus the cell, that's really hard to do, right? For that.
And the background, and this one has the background too, which is the third element.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that go into art like cell collecting. I'm no expert by any means, but to find both of those things together is really rare.
That's unreal. That is
Yeah,
absolutely unreal. That's super cool, bro. Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah, no, that was like definitely my pickup of the show for sure.
great.
You got a
I
good
wasn't
price on that.
wasn't even planning on it. So.
These things are so rare. I think I've seen 2. I think Mike, yours is the other one I've seen ever.
I've had 2 or 3 from this thing. I've had a mix where I've had like just the sketch, or I've had just the cell, and then I had one that was paired. But yeah, in years of collecting, I've seen less than 5 come up.
Yeah.
They're people hold on to them. And rightly so. Like when you think about, that migration, like we talked about before, I came from comic books, right? So when I can sell a BA-12, 98, like I don't know what they're going for these days, but like back in the day, I don't know, like $2,000, $3,000, right?
You're still around there.
Yeah. So you can roll that into like something that's to me like infinitely more rare. And it's like earlier, that's a cool trade for me. Like I'd rather have the cell, and that's just, a me, but.
And it's amazing.
Yeah, I didn't realize that she was in the cartoon first until Vinny told me.
Yeah, like a year before. It's like a full year. There's one other
like
promo piece that sold on Heritage maybe 2 years ago that it was like a printed ad, like a promo for
Comic Scene 31.
It was like a New York, was it San Francisco?
The episode predates that, and this thing Mike's talking about predates the episode.
It was an ad for the series in a San Francisco paper.
Well, predates the episode.
And Tom Fish, I think, was the buyer for it at Heritage, but I think it went for well over 6 figures, if I'm not mistaken.
What up,
yeah,
okay. I didn't know about that ad.
What's going on?
Because we did find like the first one we thought was printed was the Comic Scene 31. So I had the first 2 9/8 of that, but just because kind of found out about it, and then sort of just found the mags and pressed them and graded them, and then they almost got them with the cassette.
Yeah.
And the other one that has the pin on it, just a few printed materials. I mean, the BA-12 is obviously canon, you know, so inarguably that. Besides the cartoon, but that's just not comic book format is all. But yeah, that is absolutely amazing.
It's funny how a lot of that works. Also with like how you can pick something up. Like if something that you really want and if somebody's bringing it, I imagine that there's always a chance to get something. You might have something that they really want. You might know where something is that they really want, that type of stuff. These deals that are made over multiple hours to multiple months to maybe even years, right?
Yeah.
And this piece in particular, I mean, not that I'm looking at it a little closer, just the way that she's just sitting sort of comfortably while Joker's just stewing, like their relationship being portrayed fairly well here for being this early on.
Well, we heard at the show, because we were talking about this deal. We heard at the show that the character's based on one of the voice actors on the show, and that he played a Harley Quinn character on stage that all the animators and writers loved. Different thing, not Harley from Batman, a Harley Quinn archetype character. And they said, we love this thing that you do. We're going to do an homage in one episode, and you can voice it. And it just took off. So she crystallized the character already. There's a couple of photos, right, Mike, that someone showed us.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the actress.
Ryan, I think you just had that ad up too. That was like the earliest.
Yeah. And that is from Comic Scene 31, Mike.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, there you go.
Yep. So that was the first image.
Yeah.
And that came
from yeah. Correct. Okay.
It's crazy. I mean, beautiful piece.
and that went for 156,000, and that was
a couple years ago too, right?
2 years ago. Yeah, April.
Yeah, 2 years ago. So I mean, today that'd probably be 200 plus, I would guess.
Yeah, and it was black and
reprinted.
white in a comic scene.
It was reprinted in Comic Scene. It was in TV Today, September 1992. There's actually an image of it in the Heritage auction if you take a look.
Oh,
Whoa.
Third image.
Okay.
So TV Today is the first time it's ever been a
Outta here.
reprint?
Look at that link. There's the third image there. If you scroll over, it will be the TV Today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you see it
look at
there?
this.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
That's New York Times, and then the one before this it predates this one as well. So it was used several times.
Yeah, New York Times.
That's the TV
So
Today.
that
Sacramento Bee.
I'm sorry if you just said that, but it's showing Sacramento Today. Was this specific to the Bee, or
Must
is it,
be.
or was
Could
that
be.
something that was in a lot of different newspapers?
I don't know.
We don't know.
Wow.
I'm gonna
Think
go to
about
Sacramento Bee
that.
tomorrow and find him though.
I had just moved out of Stockton, but we didn't get the Bee at the house anyway. So
Shout out to High Voltage Mark, who just dropped a $20 super chat. He says, I prefer original comic art. Can you ask the panel the pros and cons between purchasing OA to commission pieces? That's a very interesting
Great question.
topic that we've talked about many times, but that's a great question. Anybody want
it's
to take
something
that?
a lot of people wish they would have done instead of getting commissions. But
Yeah.
We've got a buddy, Mike and Vinny. We've got a buddy, Shaheen, awesome dude, and he was a huge commission guy.
Yeah.
And really good at it. I mean, he had a system down. All his commissions would come out amazing.
Yep.
He had a whole pattern, and he's fully published art now. And he kind of regrets some of the commission stuff, even though it's beautiful, because it's just not published. So there's a connection to the character, the hobby in general, the artist in a different way with published pieces.
And
Yeah, I would
you
say-
could argue that that's come full circle because now published pieces cost more, and people have an emotional connection to commissioning art and they get them. They tend to get them at quite a lower price.
Yeah,
There's so many different routes that people take to collecting. Some people pick a character and they get 2, 3, 4, 500 commissions of those characters over years, and it gives them an incredible amount of pleasure. But the truth is that the vast majority of those commissions are like buying a new car and driving off the lot. Right? Unless it's a John Byrne thing or someone that just stops doing commissions, or you got a David Finch commission 10 years ago, and Art Adams one 5 years ago.
Bruce Timm does really well.
There's an internal market with commissions that's maturing, but very slowly. It's not as objective, it's not as measurable as a commission piece, but from a pleasure standpoint and down to the individual collector, it's a reliable, significant sort of portion of the pie of collectors. The degree to which they go into it, the pleasure that they get out of it, the connection that they get out of it is down to the individual, but it's a very real, lively thing.
Yeah.
Totally. We've got another buddy, Chris Bailey, whose son Powers, whenever he's at a convention, he's got, $50 or whatever he's got saved up. He'll go to artists and get 1 or 2 Pokemon commissions. And it's usually their first time ever doing Pokemon, and he loves those things.
So cool. Yeah, I mean, this
I
kid's
think
got
you
like
gotta-
Art Adams Pokemon. Like, it's like crazy, right? Like, can you imagine Art Adams drawing Pokemon for the first time, like Bulbasaur? It's like,
He might be
that's
perfect
freaking
for
rad,
it.
right?
Yeah.
So I think the question is about pros and cons. Pros are you are connecting with the artist, right? So you have a personal experience that you're sort of paying for, right? You're getting something that you specifically want. It's a character or a team or a moment, whatever it is, but you get something that you are after. You may not be able to find in a published piece, right? Maybe you're getting a recreation of a published piece. That happens. I think the cons are, if you look at it from, again, if you're looking at it as an investment versus a collection, those are two different things, right? It's people who sort of think about the monetary value of things will say it won't track as well as a published piece because it's not as widely seen. That doesn't mean it's less valuable other than monetarily. Intrinsically, it could be way more valuable, but it just depends on, how you're approaching the hobby. And that's the beauty of it. There's no right or wrong way. I'm not a commission collector myself, but I totally see the value in it. Like it's not for me, but I love people who love it.
Bailey said he got Bart Sears to do Machamp, I think, the Pokemon character. So, but the cool thing is Bailey was telling me that he a lot of times he'll get these commissions done and he'll ask them to write, because if it's their first time drawing a Pokemon, he'll ask them to say first ever Pokemon, drawn by.
And he gets a sense of pride out of that.
Oh,
yeah.
Right? You know, we get a sense of pride with certain trophies, if you will, that we own. And it's if you actually tried to calculate the amount of commissions that are done in our industry, it's actually overwhelming. And if you talk to artists of every age, of every tier of success, what have you, it is a pretty significant component of their annual income as well. There's a little bit of a patron thing. There's a little bit of a aspirational, wanted to be an artist thing, an art direction thing, an individual thing. There's a lot of components to it. Now, if you're spending an enormous amount of money on commissions, you really have a specific pleasure sort of a cycle that you're in. It's just specific to you. But there is a lot of those guys. There really is. We enjoy it at Comic Art Fans because, we see a lot of artists generating images that we otherwise wouldn't have seen. And maybe that sounds a little bit old-fashioned or a little bit romantic, but it actually is very true. It is pretty cool to click on Art Adams' name and to see 2,300 results, and like 800 of them are non-published pieces.
Yeah.
And to think that they wouldn't exist, you wouldn't have seen them, etc., if it weren't for rabid, awesome people engaging with the artists in that way.
Yeah.
Mike, something that you do that I think is like probably you're one of the best people I know that does this, and you're kind of on the tip of a spear for it, is modern pieces, right? First appearances, key moments in modern books.
Yep.
And was there anything crazy that you saw at the con this year that you had your eye on, or maybe that you picked up and that meets us?
I'll tell you. I'll share a fun story for you. Leading up to the convention, so we mentioned there's about 12 of us there. I think last time I checked our group, there's like 25 to 30 of us in our collecting group that we communicate several times a day. We do group buys, right? So we encourage each other to go out and look for like awesome pickups, right? Like if you sort of multiply yourself and you have a buddy looking out for your collection too, it just multiplies your efforts. So we had done, leading up to the convention, a couple really cool group buys. A few months ago, my comic shop randomly got like a slew of 7 to 10 pages of Cassandra Cain's first appearance, right? Back row. And they were like, I don't know, $700, $800 a piece. Like not astronomical. I mean, that's a good kind of entry level. That's kind of what a lot of modern pages go for. So we grabbed all of them, and then we did just sort of a claim in our chat. Hey guys, we've got X amount of pages coming up. And so I'll throw up pictures in a second and just claim them as you go. Right. And so I got to deliver all of that art to everyone who had bought just recently. Right. That was really cool. Gosh, who else do we get? We did Kaori, right. Yeah. From the What If. Same thing. We were able to get all of her original art as a group, right? Someone identified it and said, hey, this artist has all of it that's available, that's not digital. And so I said, look, we'd like to buy it all, right? Like we'd love to. And it's not, some people look at that and they're saying, oh, you're trying to flip it. We're actually not. We're doing it for our group. We want to keep it in our group. And so our group ended up with all the Kaori first appearance pages. And then another one in what was it? Was it Stegman? No, it wasn't Stegman. There's a new character that just showed up in one of the new X-Men runs. And it was just kind of a low price of entry, $200 a page. And it was like, maybe nothing happens with this character, but she's a new.
I missed this one, so I don't remember what character. But then you've got Stegman art.
Yeah,
it was so cool.
It was cool. It was like it was a low price of entry, and I don't think it was Stegman. It was somebody else. I'm blanking on the name.
So you guys didn't buy the Turok 1 cover?
No, we did. We did.
Did you?
Nice.
Yeah, we're getting to that. Yeah, we're getting to
But
that.
I think that I think, Brian, that's a new approach to the hobby that hasn't been here historically. From what I've only been in the hobby 5 years. So, but the feedback that I get is people are sort of taken by surprise that we would work together in a situation like that. And I think it's intimidating sometimes because they question like, well, what's your motive in this thing? And it's, look, dude, I think about that old parable, right? If you want to go far, go together. If you want to go fast, go alone, right? Like, so to us, it's like the long game. We want to go far. We want everyone to win. I love when a buddy gets a good piece. I love when someone from our group grabs Turok 1, right? And I love helping find some of that stuff too.
You really do. You're really good.
Yeah.
I started talking to people about joint ownership or 2 or 3 people going in on a piece in the mid 2000s, and people thought I was nuts. And I think that they needed to explore the reason for why they had something more than I had an issue. Yeah. And I've been surprised that fractional ownership hasn't sort of taken root in the comic art world. I would think that that'd be a very interesting vehicle for people to get involved in ownership. If you're interested in NFTs and cryptocurrencies at all, this is actually quite adjacent to it. You have an easy vehicle. They're very easy to set up. You limit the numbers. You have the rights of each owner, and you have fractional ownership, and you can add something to your collection for a fraction of the cost and diversify your portfolio, have a long-term financial interest. But these are all just different colors and avenues. What's wrong with flipping? Like, I know, I'm not saying that you were being apologetic, Mike, but you were being careful for someone to understand that you didn't intend to do it in a specific. What's wrong with flipping? Like, when did that be? As if that's like a terrible word or something.
Yeah,
like,
amen.
Really?
Dirty flippers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hashtag.
I mean, you'll see it though, Kasra. If you look at any of the forums, people are saying, "Oh, you're collector or dealers pretending to be collectors," and that whole. It's just, I mean,
Great, and I mean, like, it's easy to be a self-righteous dinosaur too.
Yeah. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But
houses were cheap in the 1950s. Like,
but Kasra, like Dinesh and I mean,
some people got a bunch of them in the 1950s. It's harder to get 10 houses now.
But really, I mean, when you talk about fractional ownership, Kasra, that's how. I mean, Dinesh and I became friends, but we bought Ultimate Fallout 4 together. Because I was way ahead of my skis on that piece, right? I didn't know what I was doing. That was a ton of money, but I believed in that character. I liked that character, and I wanted to be a part of that narrative. And frankly, fractional ownership let us do that. And now we've shared this incredible journey together as a result.
Yeah.
We've traveled the world. That is not an exaggeration. We have literally traveled the world together because of a piece that we bought together. And it's the coolest thing, I
mean, at one point, Obi-Wan Kenobi was the coolest Jedi. If you know what I mean.
Totally.
Okay. And that's all fine. I mean, the number of paths that you can take, I've been liberated a little bit quite a bit as being CEO of CAF, because I can look at it all now and I just look at it all as perfect.
Yeah.
Every single way that a person collects, other than them being manipulative or undermining or lying or like outright totally misrepresenting themselves, some of that is not fun. And that's also a part of what happens. And you guys know all, whatever.
Yep.
People are also allowed to change their minds.
For sure.
Buying a piece of art should not condemn you to like some sort of legal marriage till death do you part as well. I mean, but we have so much emotion and history with this stuff. I completely understand why people overreact or react at all to some of this stuff.
Yeah.
This is just part of if you will, a maturation of this collecting category and genre. And we should get used to it because it'll only become more diverse. It'll only become more what you might call aggressive, forward-thinking, creative, cunning.
Yep.
Yes. I love what people thinking right now. They're thinking, "Thank God this guy's CEO." That's very open, and it's great. We need it. We need it for this whole hobby.
I agree. But I think that there's so many people who get it from the comic perspective, right? Because it's a more mature hobby, right? Like anyone who is collecting comic books has probably had to buy and sell a piece to upgrade to a different piece, right? Sometimes you buy a book because you know that that's going to help get you into a book that you really want. I work off a very fixed income myself. And sometimes that requires having to let go of something that I do like to get into something that I like more. And I think you see that more in comic books. And I think that in art, it's not new. People have done it for a while, but it's not as mainstream. People tend to hold art more. I should say more people tend to hold art longer in this hobby. And so, for you guys, and frankly, where Dinesh and I and Vinny all came from, like I'm used to upgrading. My first Hulk 181 wasn't a 9.8, right? Like that's not how that worked. So
that's not feasible. So just like drop like what,
not for the new
6 figures on a book.
Yeah, right? Oh gosh, dude, I love that.
So were any of these? Did anybody come up and try to pry any of these away from you guys?
Someone actually did. Not those specific pieces. I had a lovely collector inquire about a piece that I didn't have a price on, and she asked, a female collector who was awesome, and she asked if
I know.
if she could write a personal check, and I'm like, that's a lot of money for a personal check.
She had references in the room, I'm sure.
She did. She gave me 3 references. In 5 minutes, I checked.
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, took the check. And what a lovely collector. I was just like so.
You sold?
Better for meeting her. Yeah.
You did sell?
I did. I sold a piece to her, and then a piece to another pretty established collector that had I wasn't looking to sell that piece either, but he had the following page and just said, look, I'd really like to pair the two. And it was fine. I
think that's cool
when you can help someone, build a run.
Totally. Yeah, I agree.
That's one of the coolest parts. And that means a lot to a lot of you guys, like, to have the ability to find those pieces. And if, there's always something you want more than what you have now, right?
Thank God.
Something. Yeah. So
yeah, and we thought that trading would become. I really thought trading would become more common. It was a little bit alien of a concept in the comic art world for a while.
Yeah.
Unless people knew each other for a while, or they were in the same circles, or geographically they were close. And I figured by the time you get 1,000 collectors in a room and they're all bringing portfolios, that's like, with the general escalation of prices, it'll be a lot more interesting for like to trade with like.
Yep.
And then you get into the romantic notion of art gravitating sort of towards where it's supposed to be. Trading component becomes really interesting for that. So I thought OAX might expedite trading a bit and normalize it more.
It is.
No,
there's some big trades that happen at this show.
Especially after I've done 7 trades. The show ended. They all began at the show. Even last year, there was like 7 months of stuff that was coming together after. I don't know.
I love that it's not chaotic. To me, it's all of the possibilities are in play. I love that feeling. I don't like it when people are locked into a behavior.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'll leave it at that.
No, I love it. I think it's great. I think it's great dialogue. Honestly, I think that's insightful.
Yeah. Oh, you gotta have it like card shows where like
exactly.
where you have like a trade night,
exactly.
after the show, like where it's just like in a lobby somewhere where people set up like casually, like like
I feel like that kind of happens organically.
It just
right?
happens.
Yeah.
Organically. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the way you want it to happen.
Yeah, but I think there's room for it to have some structure around it where you could accelerate that.
I understand that. I'm very careful about that, and I look at things as sort of storytelling or narrative arcs, and I don't want people to feel like we're dictating it. I want it to like unfold. Partly, some of that I shouldn't. Some of that is just how you place things, and then it happens, and then you can put some skin or name or place or booth or drape or whatever, and then it's like a thing, right? I just like it to just form in that. Some of this stuff, it's okay, but for so long it didn't happen. So the fact that it's happening now at all, and it has some momentum, it has some, it can be understood, it can be viewed and understood, comprehended is important.
Yeah. What if next year? You had collector tables at High Tops, but what if? Even something as simple as just labeling them trade tables, right? Here's like trade tables. You guys want to trade art or check it out? Like,
yeah,
go hang out. Go.
We had the collectors lounge, which is essentially the spillover space off the auction area, and we have to do a better job with that. We found that the high tops encouraged it more than having an entire section for it. But yeah, labels are a thing. Also, setting up. I want a lot more booths with different configurations.
Yeah.
So I'm working with the convention a professional group now that has a lot of computer aided design capabilities, and I'm working with them to lay out what's the technical term? A shitload of booth configurations.
I've heard that term before. Yeah.
Yeah. You had some ideas coming in with you guys, right? And that's the kind of stuff that I would like. I would like there to be a little bit of individuation and creativity. I don't like when you go to shows.
Table. Yep.
Yeah, and I know how to keep it cohesive yet individual.
Yeah.
At least I have some confidence about that. And we're going to do some of that year 3. We're already talking about that for year 3.
You can sign us up for a third booth. We loved our spot. We like, I felt like we loved it so much. We got so much traffic there. It was crazy.
I think I'll have some good options for you guys.
Cool.
You might be surprised. Yeah.
Guys, honestly, like
table.
We divided it out into like 2-hour shifts. I don't think I left the table more than about 15 minutes.
Yeah, you haven't.
Yeah, I didn't even look at your guys' art. That's what a wonderful show I had. I'm going to definitely change.
We're busy passing out drinks and sandwiches, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I love how it's kind of like alive too, like the after parties and how people, all gather around. I have one question, and a lot of these like, events afterwards and stuff, everybody's showing each other portfolios of original art and stuff. How is the alcohol handled around those portfolios? Because I'm always thinking that, you know what I mean? Like
100%.
Or the sprinkler system. Somebody in the chat said that, and I've always thought that. Same with the comic shows, man.
Yeah, worried about the same person. I think was worried about security, and I need a chief worry officer if they're looking for a job, because they were really good at just worrying about stuff. But I think, by the way, not knowing about the security means that we did a good job with the security
100%,
to begin with. The sprinklers, what are you going to do? I mean, if he wants to show up and let the sprinklers off, he's not getting out of there alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine with me. As we get that on film, we'll have an even better year the next year.
Jeez.
Yeah, we've had fire alarms going off in Baltimore.
Oh my God.
That's terrible.
Yeah, I was that was loud too.
That's like sabotage level stuff, That's like, what are you going to do?
Fire alarm, and they said there was a fire upstairs in Baltimore, like a small office fire or something.
You just build a community of people who aren't like that, and if most of your community will call out and police itself, you have a good community. And I think that's kind of like what you're after. I at least hope so, because to me that's the best type of community to have. Police
100%. You account for the worst, of course. I had stepped up security big time this year. They wouldn't let me have guys with guns on their hips just as like a visual intimidator, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah.
But we couldn't afford for something to go wrong. We're not that we're responsible for it, but if you're going to start a show, the show is so focal, you can't have events like that happen. And so there was no shortage of consideration for the security. But please, guys, don't set the fire alarm off. That would suck.
Don't be a douchebag.
That's not nice.
Wait, in Florida, can't you just walk in with the gun on your hip anyway?
I thought you could, but their security, I thought it was carry, and the security did not do that. I actually asked.
That's funny.
I know of at least one collector that had a concealed carry permit and was carrying a gun. I found out after the show, but he's walking around and he was, he's a good dude. So that's a little safe for you.
You know how to use it. There's nothing wrong.
There was probably a lot more than one gun.
I know of one in Florida. For this a lot.
Yeah. We for our booth we had.
That's why it's in Florida, right?
Yeah.
Orlando is it's the Vatican City of Florida, as I call it, which I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but it is a little different. Yeah.
I mean, it'll just hand you a gun like as soon as you
Yes,
enter.
at the airport.
But I mean, that's what they do in Texas.
Like
so-
Hawaii gives you the lay, Florida gives
Wait,
you
wait till we add the movie props and movie art. Maybe there'll be a really weird shit walking around that con, like bazookies and stuff on people's
Are you
shoulders.
going to do that? Is that the plan to keep expanding like that?
Yeah. Honestly, if you read the Lucas Museum mission statement about
Yeah.
what narrative art is, that has been my guiding principle for 2 years.
That's
And OAX is a presentation, the actualization of that. So will it take until year 5 or 8 to do movie related stuff? Maybe. I'm not going to do anything prematurely. I'm not really in a hurry.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fine.
Smart.
You know, I was just actually hitting one of my friends up on Facebook Messenger, but I've got a friend who collects original video game art too. I was just asking him if he heard
That's
of
very
it.
funny. I was just talking about that to the team yesterday.
Yeah,
I was talking about a pinball room with pinball art.
nice. That's
That would be cool.
Dude, actually, at the Madrid Marvel exhibit, they have Marvel pinball at the end and tracing stations for the kids. It's so rad. Like you
Exactly. It's for the kids and it's for us. It's for slow periods on Sunday, and it's going to end up being a hangout trading room.
100%. It was so rad.
There you go. Yeah, that'd be dope.
Yeah.
That'd be really.
And there's
dope.
a lot of game art out there, and I tapped into the game art community. And then there's a national group. My brother's deep into pinball. He's got like 40 machines, and there's a group out of Florida and an awesome guy who runs it, who I'm talking to next week. And they get the very tight knit but real community that collects the machines and also the art related to pinball.
I love
And
it.
these guys donate like high-end machines and raise money for children's hospitals and things. So he's a nonprofit that does that. So I'm going to bring him in, set him up with a room, find a couple of game art guys that are real popular in that community, have something, a fundraising component of it, show off some really cool art. So you guys know I do the special galleries as part of OAX. It's one of my little babies, and it's kind of a sneaky educational wow you. Oh, there's a Frazetta, but now that you're looking at the Frazetta, you're looking at, all these Sagreus, and you're looking at all these other incredible illustrators, right? I think one of the best special galleries we could ever have is pinball machines with pinball art.
Yeah.
Just make it a hybrid game room. There you go. I mean, that is unbelievable.
Wow. So cool.
And that Kaluta, man, I love Kaluta, but that Kaluta is a superior Kaluta.
Yeah,
It's fantastic.
Fantastic.
That whole gallery was just amazing. It was so well put together.
Yeah.
There's no inspiration there.
This is the Korshak collection, that family illustration collection. It's an incredible collection.
This stuff is beautiful.
Do you go search this type of stuff out, or do they come to you, and do they want, is it both?
Yes, and year in and year out too. It's here's the thing. It's one of those things where we're kind of falling forward and outrunning ourselves. There's like a dynamic where we got lucky, we found stuff, prior relationships, people cooperated, it happened, the show did well, and we're already at a point where people are saying, I want to do it. They're starting to now volunteer. I mean, I couldn't ask for more. Think about all of the art in our community. Think about just the people that have been doing it for 30, 40, 50 years, where they're at in their life. And where these art forms have come to in social consciousness and value, and they want to show them. And they look at, a quick weekend in Orlando in a very intense setting as attractive to do that. And this is only the beginning of what I want to do with that and those people and that art. It's time.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome too to see how much of the world of creators are collectors as well. You know what I mean? We're going to get into this too in a second, because I really want to talk about this exhibit at the con. It was amazing.
Man, that was the best moment of the show right there.
I was going to totally agree, man. Totally. Fantastic information that just blew my mind. We'll get into that. But
were you there?
No, I didn't get to go there, man. But I
Oh, well,
definitely.
we videotaped Brian and Sanford and their walkthrough of the Collections in Black gallery, special gallery that we put together. That's Big Phil in the center and Khalil Giron. The three of us put that special gallery together, and those two guys, I have never in my life been around that kind of like dignity, grace, emotional intelligence, and just generosity. It was like 30 minutes of bliss. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where you go on vacation and you take a photo of the sun coming up and you get back and you just feel like an asshole because you took the photo of the freaking sun and it doesn't even mean anything. You had to be there, right?
Yeah.
I guarantee you the video of this is going to move people. They were amazing.
When is it going to come out?
Well, Big Phil, we got to text each other and call each other. I got to push him a little bit. He's got too many plans within plans within plans. So let's try to get it out in February. I'd like to get it out. I'm sure he would too, but the work's on his shoulders now to edit it. He's a great documentary filmmaker and an amazing DJ. And I'm going to have him DJ the reception next year. We need a little bit of spice.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was an amazing moment, as a matter of fact, and Swag said he was going to try and jump on in about a half hour time or so. He said he'd try to jump on about 9 p.m. Pacific if he could. He was busy, but there was an amazing moment that I'm going to play real quick here in the Swag video. Let's see if I can find this really amazing moment. Right here. Here we go.
Yeah, you know why this was amazing? This guy put together and orchestrated an amazing walkthrough.
Oh my God, dude. You are so right. You hit it on the head. That's the exact. I called Swag and I said, how did you pull that off, dude?
Because he practiced it and he staged it and he pre-produced it. I mean, he put in the work and he's like one cut Swag, right? Doing this like 25-minute walkthrough. And who screws it up? Big Phil.
Yeah, but it's perfect.
Big Phil walks up to him and does like a quick advertisement and walks away.
It was so perfect. It was so perfect.
Amazing.
I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna speed it up a little bit just because it's so, it's a little long. But Swag's gonna hate hearing this voice and 1.5 speed. But this is amazing. Watch this walkthrough
We all
and
play it at 1.5.
How he does all this. This is absolutely amazing. Here we go.
He's the man, dude.
Enough. Can we do without the singing? I think we can. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video with Swagglehaus.
Actually, I need to give it the regular.
You're doing him dirty.
You just chipmunked him, dude. He does not sound like that, man.
This is a great, by the way, you guys. I called Swag when I saw it just today. I was like, bro, I didn't get a chance to tell you how good that video was. How did you pull off? Did you practice that your whole script? Did you pace it out? So just watch.
Did you put tape on the floor where you're supposed to stand?
Right? It was perfect.
It was crazy. Honestly, it was really impressive.
I was walking around the show and I saw him like walking backwards and I was like, what the heck is this guy doing? I was like, I'm going to leave him alone.
Yeah, he looked totally normal at that show, but it was not normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, he's just so good at talking, man. That's why he can do these one take things.
Yeah.
Right. I could barely do 30-second one takers.
Orlando, I love you, Orlando.
Never mind. Take it back.
Take it all back.
No more
And it's
singing.
good to be shameless.
The walking, talking vlogs are cringy enough. Can we do without the singing? I think we can. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video with Swagglehaus. And in this one, here we are.
Stride.
Orlando, the greatest city in all of the world, according to the Book of Mormon. Great show, by the way. Hilarious. But we're actually at OAX, Original Art Expo, the greatest art show that there is, even though it's only in its second year. But in its second year, it's already the best, which is why I thought it'd be kind of fun to not only go to it, but take you along with me for this walking, talking vlog. Notice how I started out in the parking lot. A lot of these videos that cover these conventions, they show you guys like the cool things, they actually take you and show the art.
All right, that all seems like not a big deal, right? He hits his stride right here, and this is unreal.
I start you in the parking lot because the parking lot is half of the experience. Okay, it builds the anticipation. You have to feel what it's like to go into the show. Start out there. Then you walk into the lobby. You check in. You sign your name on the little entry thing. You know, you're getting the full experience. I apologize to everyone who's watching this video right now for the very first time. They're like discovering my channel. They're like, oh man, I can't wait to see some OAX content, because I saw that thumbnail and I was thinking to myself, this might be a fun video to watch. And now they have to sit with me and go through my filter as I take them around the show. But that's what we do here on the channel. Okay, I'm going to commentate my experience, share you guys a little bit of insider info, what's going on at the show, while I also show you guys some of the art. Because here we are in one of the artist rooms. Some incredible
I'm
Dave
sure we're gonna see a lot of you
right
guys.
here. Incredible Magic the Gathering artist. On top of all this other stuff. Look at this. Look at how amazing that Constantine piece is. So anyways, incredible show. OAX is where all the best art dealers, you know, some of the greatest artists come together to, you know, kind of celebrate the hobby, the art collecting hobby.
So you guys can kind of see how it
Pause
is.
for a
He does a
second.
really good job. I'm not gonna play this whole video, but
Let's
watch
talk
this
about
moment right
the
here.
You know, it's a lot of moving money, so to speak, right? People jumping from, you know, the more common stuff into the more eclectic, more rare things, not only in the comic book world, but also in the art world as well. You can see that there's a lot of people coming over from the comic side that are thinking, let me move some of my Golden Age books, let me move some of my Silver Age books and move it into original art where no one can undercut me because I own the very one thing. It is the original.
Show all the time.
We get interrupted right here. What's going on?
Listen, you need to go back, check out the Collectibles in Black Gallery.
Okay.
The only gallery with culturally significant art. We were at the August Wilson Center for 7 months. It's incredible. You'll see black art you never seen before in your life. The first time an African American ever appeared positively on the cover, featured inside of a book, 1941. Joe Lewis, True Comics #5. I own all the pages. It's back there. Now watch the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Big Phil,
Well, you,
33rd Media.
well, you just made it on the show.
You made it. Listen, I just made your show that much better.
You gotta love it. What is like that timing, right?
It's not wrong.
And so he goes in to explain. Swag goes on to show the exhibit, and it was absolutely amazing, you know, to see that the exhibit that was there. Can you talk about some of the pieces that they had?
Sorry.
Kasra? Yeah.
My dog was making some weird noises, and I'm like, what is going on? What did you say?
I was going to say, if you can talk about some of the pieces they had at that exhibit. There was that one with the Robbie Robertson piece that was absolutely unreal. And that's the type of stuff that I like when I hear about collecting and comics and weird, fun things, when they have these really amazing historical aspects to it. And that's some historical aspect, like a major historical aspect to that piece.
That was a ASM 51. I think it's from November '67 by John Romita. John Romita Sr. It's a twice-up page, second appearance of Kingpin, which John Romita Sr. Kingpin is iconic. And I think it was the fourth panel was the first appearance of Robbie Robertson.
So all the
who was
original.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Sorry, there was a feedback there. Sorry, and
Yeah.
And there was it was whited out. His head was whited out and redrawn, and there was an editorial note on the side that was very telling. He had been changed from a white character to a black man. So I mean, it's very important, interesting, surprising piece of little history there. First appearance of Robbie Robertson. But the fact that he had been changed, and that editorial note to the colorist Stan Goldberg on the side there was pretty shocking. And we also had the character design for Robbie Robertson from Romita Sr. there right next to it as well. Misty Knight and Robbie Robertson.
I mean, look at this, you guys. This is unreal.
There was some crazy jungle action pages with the Klan and Black Panther. There was a Kirby FF53 page, an action page with the full FF team with Black Panther on it, and Bashara, who who would know the art dealer, art collector, art rep, or not rep, dealer, collector. Bashar is pretty well versed in Kirby art, and in like 40 years, he's never heard anything about 52 pages existing, the first appearance of Black Panther. So that 53, there you go. That 53 book is essentially the earliest known Black Panther art, and he gave us one of the best pages from that book. There was some crazy stuff that we were able to collect together
as well. And Dan,
Yeah, I think there's also some amazing moments. There's some amazing buying moments. Can you talk about like where does the most of the buying happen at the event? Is it the auction, or is it on the side? I mean, what do you think is the best places to pick up art? Everywhere.
You're asking me?
Anybody out there?
Well, the buying happens like it happens on the airplane on the way over. It happens in the cab. It happens in the toilet with guys talking next to each other in the urinal. It happens. I mean, the auctions are dropping the bucket. It's like $120,000 auction cumulatively. I'll put out the numbers in a press release maybe end of this week, but that's nothing.
Yeah,
that's nothing compared to what's going on.
It is. I saw half a dozen 6-figure deals. I saw 2 7-figure deals get consummated. I know of a third that is still being worked out. I was shocked. I mean, I don't see that at book shows.
No.
There's some big collectors with brass balls at OAX, and there's some really, really unique stuff. So people, they don't mess around. If something is there they want, they go for it because they may never see it again.
Yeah.
Unless you have, I feel like a lot of expendable income or money that you need to invest. So many people I think might have missed the boat on any of this stuff, because the problem is that we don't have people just still making the art that is collectible. You're gonna print out your iPad? They're just not making it.
A vast majority of the art in that room was certainly under $1,000.
Yeah.
A huge portion of the art was under $500.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's the good. I know. Again, a lot of the bigger stuff gets the attention, and I understand it, and rightfully so. Absolutely, completely understand that. But I want to be really careful because you're. It's very easy for people to get a little overwhelmed or intimidated even by it. But really, I mean, I know I have plenty of friends that went that weekend and walked out with like 15, 16 pieces of art for less than $500 total.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, yeah, easily. Oh, easily. And I get that. There really is everything at every level, at every budget, old, new, not even released yet. And there's all the untouchable stuff. But, I go to a museum, I'm not really thinking about buying, the paintings on the wall there either. And some of that stuff is at that level. It really is.
Nice. I mean, that's good advice.
Yeah.
There's tons of, I mean, Vinny was talking earlier about going dollar bin diving, the equivalent of that for original art. There's tons of stuff. And from a publishing standpoint, I can tell you artists, there's a real movement back to physical art on board. There was a movement to digital. They all wanted to explore it.
Yep.
It sped them up in certain ways, but the artists I'm working with, a lot of them have moved back for a number of reasons.
That's very
Jimmy Palmiotti last year and this year did something really clever. He brings a long box full with several hundred pages from his career that are all less than $100. And he gets plenty of guys going through there and picking out 5 pages, 8 pages, 10 pages. I think some of them are $50. Like very diverse, very cool stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I went to somebody who I haven't actually seen at a con before, Bart Sears, and he had a stack of prelims, and I just grabbed one that I saw I liked from an old Exo Manowar.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was just
what did that run you?
Maybe $200, something like that. It wasn't that much. So,
Nice.
Yeah. So
that's an amazing little area of the collecting world that's become mineable as of late, right?
Yeah.
I got to show this too, just because I'm on it. But I got him to do a commission of Juggernaut, which I did.
It's good, dude. That's real good. That's peak Bart Sears.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sick, dude.
I loved it. I was like, holy crap. I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Juggernaut barely contained by the paper.
I know. Lego, I think, you know, even at our table, so we wanted to make sure that we put prices on some stuff, just, you know, whether we were excited to move it or just, you know, brought it just to share.
Right.
So in the portfolios, I had a specific portfolio that was like all first appearance art, but 500 or less, or maybe 800 or less.
Yeah.
And that was just, you know, again, it wasn't your Black Panther first appearance, right? It was like,
Right.
you know, characters that are kind of under the radar, maybe been in some books. Guys like, I think about like Darwin, right, from the X-Men. He was in X2. Like he's been in and out of the X-Men rotations.
Mhm.
But stuff like that, like $200, like that gets you into a character and you can kind of cheer for them and follow them. And, you know, if you don't like it on the road, you just, you know, move on.
And let's be clear, the dealers were buying. I mean, they come to OAX in the first 24 hours there. A lot of it is just about buying. So a lot of guys were obviously selling stuff in order to have cash to shift it into other stuff too.
Yep.
You got to establish a collection first. Sometimes for the first 5 years that you're collecting, it's just a couple of pieces here, 5 pieces in a year, 8 pieces the second year. Whatever you get, you're going to keep forever. First love, all that kind of stuff, right? She kissed me and I can't believe it, blah, 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 right? All that stuff. I get it. I mean, we all go through
totally
the dance, you know?
All right, let's talk about the big ticket items. Let's talk about some of the big ticket sales. Somebody made a comment about a Turok 1, huh?
Yeah, the Turok one I think was $75K. I don't know if that's even close to big ticket at OAX.
It's
to
not.
tell you the truth.
That's medium. That's
But it
small
was
size.
fun.
Great
It was cool to see Bart Sears holding it in one of the videos, and he was genuinely like sitting there, like staring at it.
Yeah.
I don't think that he was thinking about, you know, the fact that he didn't make the $75K on it. I think he was genuinely happy to see it after a really long time. It was kind of cool.
It was cool. That was a neat moment.
He told Vinny, was it you or maybe Shaheen was with me? He told us a story about how the reason it looks the way it does and not the way it's printed is because they planned to do it a full chromium cover.
That's right.
And at the last minute, the printer was like, we actually can't quite do this yet, maybe a little bit from now. And I think they did do some later, Extra Man of War Zero. So they shrunk it and they pulled an piece of art from an ad with the dinosaurs, did the emboss and the foil. It looks so much better than initially intended. I mean, they both look great, but it's just interesting how the comic gods can smile on you a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool to hear that story directly from him.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of like unpublished Iron Man covers from Layton's run and different things where they just look like crap compared to the ones that they went with. You know, it was like, wow, Bob, were you even the same artist? Because in like 2 days apart, you drew that crappy cover that didn't get used, and then you had that awesome, iconic cover, and you're trying to remove, you know, the sentimentality and the iconography of that piece, and it's still that cover sucked.
Berkey had was it 128 Demon in the Bottle? Berkey had the
terrible.
I asked Bob about that. He told me he drew that. He was really proud of it, and then he had like a fever dream. Woke up and then drew the other one where he's all crunched up, and he's like, inspiration hits once in a while. He's like, I changed the angle, I drew all that, and it's like.
And the unpublished one, didn't he have it for some like 95K or?
Did he? I didn't ask. I didn't like.
Thanks.
That's okay.
Yeah, I hope someone enjoys it.
He still has it.
I hope he enjoys it.
There was a Ditko splash that was, I think, maybe a 7-figure piece that almost sold. I know there was another New Mutants 98 with Deadpool on it. I don't know what it went for. I know it's 6 figures somewhere in there that traded hands for cash at the show. I'm trying to remember what else. There was a bunch of X-Men pages.
Burn, double
page. Yeah, there's a double page trade deal. There's some bigger deals than that as well. I'm trying to remember what they were. There was some big stuff going on. I mean, it's big collectors.
Sandman 8, Dream Page.
Yeah, that moved.
Wow.
Cool stuff.
That's interesting. I think that's probably where most of the really big ticket item goes down is in the trade / a little bit of cash deals, I imagine, right?
Someone told me there was a big Silver Age DC first appearance I don't know what it. All I know is that the person said it's not your thing, so you won't be jealous when you find out what it is. And that was a mid to high six-figure deal. Like you hear these rumors, and you know the players are there, and everyone's got their own kind of a collecting point of view, so you can kind of guess who's looking for what.
Yeah.
And people bring it. I mean, I had a few people come to me and go, "Hey, I found this in my collection. I don't really want it anymore. I'll give you a fair price. It feels like the kind of thing you're into right now," which is really cool.
Yeah, that's
people looking after each other, which is nice. It's a real.
Saw you bought that card art, Dinesh, from Steve.
I did. I'm so happy about that. I love that stuff.
They're great. It's good stuff.
Let's
Strong
talk about,
guy.
I want to talk about Steve. How do you say Steve's last
That's
name?
an iconic piece.
It is.
I let this one go.
That's
So
badass.
Bobby in our group, I got this one, and he was so excited about it. He wanted it, and then Steve was kind enough to let me have this one.
Yeah, I
This
heard.
is
Yeah.
I called Bobby, and I said, "You know what? You can have the strong guy for
That
whatever."
one's again really iconic in that community. Yeah, it's Stephen Walborough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, and I saw Dinesh. I saw you on the plane. You were open Marvel Masterpiece boxes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's they did a reissue of that set, and it's got me very, very nostalgic.
So that was a reissue
the
set.
2016,
So you were
Platinum
you must have
XL.
known a little bit what you were looking for when you got there.
I knew these were in one collection, and I've been trying to meet the guy forever. Yeah, look at that crotch.
I saw that first, and then I think I saw Swag's video, and
It was
I
meant
I went to Steven's house and I saw all of the
Yeah.
2016s in person. That
Oh.
was pretty sick.
That's cool.
Is it true he bought the whole set?
Yeah, it's public, so I can say there was a gentleman in France who bought it back in 2016, brokered by someone you would know. It went basically into storage, and then the guy resurfaced. I think he used the same intermediary, and Steven was contacted. He had lots of hectic phone calls to people, including a few to me about how to cobble together the funds in a very short amount of time. Flew up there with a friend, hand packed it, flew it back, put it out into the community, and it got wiped. I mean, it was just raw meat.
He's a
unreal.
Steven joined our board
did?
as well. Like comic art fans, yeah.
I
He's a
saw
good
that. I
friend
was
of
going to
mine,
ask
yeah.
about that.
Steven also is he's like one of the co-creators of the Card Art Expo with me. It's Jose Caballero, Steven, and Matt Fuller. Yeah.
He sounds like a very interesting guy, a musician, which is cool. He's into computer security software guy, which is even you throw that in there. And
He's a white hat hacker and very well known, like one of the top ones. He says in the country, I think maybe a little bit better than just the States. And he started Halprin, cybersecurity company that's done exceptionally well. He's the CTO and founder and board member. Yep.
Look at
You should
behind
have
him. You
more-
guys can see all the original card art on the wall behind him. So he's really into Magic the Gathering also, which was pretty amazing to see all the Magic the Gathering stuff that was going on. I wish Clutch was here to talk about this.
The 2018 Bianchi Marvel Masterpieces behind him. I think he has 60 pieces of art from that one.
Wow.
The Lord of the Rings, Greg and Tim Hildebrandt painting. I had a Greg Hildebrandt memorial. There was the Balrog painting, if you saw it. That was from the Korshak collection. But the other one with Gandalf and Frodo in front of the fire with the ring is owned by Steven. He brought that up to be in the memorial.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to reach out to him. I'd love to talk to him. I'd love to get him and Clutch. And I don't know if there's any of you guys there are Magic the Gathering guys. I'd love to get a group of Magic the Gathering guys on to geek out about, Magic and, tell us a lot about it. Because we have a lot of Magic the Gathering fans. Obviously.
Let me know. My new director of events, Tatiana Dykes, is she works with Wizards. She's an art rep in the Magic world. She runs the Facebook page. She's an admin of it where all of the art is sold. And she's my secret weapon for building out IAX next year and the Magic art.
That's nice. Hell yeah, man. I'll take you up on it. Trust me. I'm going to pull that card.
Lots more Magic events next year.
Yeah,
awesome.
That's becoming a crazy world.
We got 2 years of Magic and Marvel ahead of us.
That's what everybody is waiting for. And here's something interesting that I'm glad you brought up Marvel. Marvel is playing some very interesting moves right now outside of comics, right? The Magic the Gathering stuff, the Marvel Rivals stuff. What are your guys' thoughts on Marvel Rivals art? Now, I know there's probably not much of it out there. Have you guys started looking into maybe conception art from the, like, is there any thoughts in your guys' head about that type of game plan?
It sounds like you, Mike.
I loved the Snap stuff, right? Marvel Snap was fantastic. I definitely own.
How much of the Snap stuff was digital, though? I thought a lot of it was digital, the art. And
The original stuff was, I mean, the main primary cards, I found quite a few of them.
Good. Okay.
And they're awesome. Like I have Miles, I have Ironheart, I've got, some really cool pieces. There was some pretty cool Marvel Magic stuff at the show, actually. So some guys got, I mean, literally the score of the show was from that. So I'll let him share that whenever he's ready to go public with it. But it's pretty cool.
It's unreleased, right? Someone got some unreleased upcoming Magic cards.
Yep.
Oh,
for
No
like
kidding.
under 3,500, got like quite a few pieces.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Like it's really cool stuff. So very excited about that. The Rivals game has been fantastic, right? And I think that is great exposure for all comic related hobbies, right? Because it gets people back into books, it gets people back into art. I haven't sought out the conceptual stuff yet. I'm sure it's probably out there, so someone should try to beat me to it. But it's fantastic. Like, game is fun. If you haven't played it, it's a blast, and I really I enjoy it.
I find myself, and this is crazy, I talk about it a lot. The viewers are probably like, oh, here we go, Marvel Rivals again.
Yeah.
I can't play the game. I'm not good at first person shooters, so that's my problem.
This is third person. You're fine.
Whatever it is. And but I watch at least 1 hour a day of gameplay from this game because it's fun, dude. You get to see all the cool stuff.
It's just a lot of
the characters do, like how they use their
it.
powers. Some guys that you would think would be like a tank type style character is not, and vice versa. They're really smart about the skins that they play, and that's a big deal in comics right now. A lot of people are speculating on those issues where those skins first happen, and it made me think a lot, like looking for the original art where those skins first show up in the original comic series.
You should
try Swag's all about that too, man.
Yeah.
On his shows and talking to him. I saw him on Saturday at the horror con we had.
Dude, make a list. I'll help you find it.
Yeah.
Go after it, hit it hard. Like I'll help you. I love, helping people find stuff that they're interested in. I just think that game is going to do so much for Marvel as a whole. I think, MCU was definitely a boost for Marvel for a long time, but I think that maybe ran some of its course, and I'm hoping this year's like another adrenaline shot for the MCU. But I think the last couple of years showed like a waning effect in pop culture. But I think it's coming back full force, and Rivals is a great example of that. People want Marvel stuff again. It just hasn't been the quality that they expected, right?
Yeah.
And so I think we'll see that. Marvel knows that. Disney knows that. And so I think once we get probably past Captain America, I think we'll see that return, right?
The Fantastic Four, the 90-second teaser was pretty decent.
Great.
So.
Looks awesome.
They told us nothing, but they definitely got the thing
I'm stoked
right.
on Thunderbolts, man. Like, I can't wait for Thunderbolts. Like, give me more Yelena, man. She's so fun.
Or New Avengers or whatever they're going to do.
Yep.
Dinesh, how did you first get into collecting the card art stuff? I mean, because this isn't your first foray into the card art. Do you remember when you first got into it?
Yeah, it was just the when I was growing up, it's always nostalgia for everybody, right? When I was growing up, I had the Marvel Universe Series 3 cards, and I had the Marvel Masterpieces. I didn't have many of those. My friends all had them. I didn't have them. So I've got a chip on my shoulder for them. And Tom Fish, who's a big collector, he's got a lot of cool stuff. I had a book that he wanted, and we were trying to figure out a trade. And he had the Wolverine versus Sabretooth chase card from the Marvel Masterpiece set. So not only did I not have the full set, I certainly didn't have the chase cards. And he offered that up, and we did a trade, and it got it in hand, and it was so cool. I didn't realize how detailed they were, how awesome they are in person, and I got addicted. So I've been chasing all these Marvel Masterpiece cards. But I don't really know. I didn't even know that Jusco came back and did a 2016 set until this show at OAX. That's how great the card section was. I learned so much. The guys are so nice. They found out I was buying these new Marvel Masterpiece reissues, and they were walking me through, here's, just be careful of buying this and be careful of that, and buy cases, not boxes. They were really, really nice guys. But I'm really into Marvel Masterpiece 92 and then the Marvel Universe Series 3, and there's so much. It's such a bigger world than I know. Just started to dip my toe in.
Yeah, it's fun. There we go. Mining that. It's a new mine to mine. But
Yeah, it's never ending.
Yeah.
Thank God I'm not in the cell art like Vinny yet. Oh, there was a cell. Speaking of cool deals, someone got a cell from the Butterfinger commercial, the Simpsons Butterfinger commercial, which is the first appearance of Milhouse before he even appeared on the show.
No kidding.
And they got the cell with Bart holding the Butterfinger, and it's from that moment where he says, "Don't lay a finger on my Butterfinger," to Milhouse. And that was like
a Butterfinger now.
what it was. It was cheaper than I thought. I think it was like $2,000.
That sounds good.
I mean, it's awesome.
Very
the Simpsons stuff is another crazy thing that is on the next level. There's Simpson collectors out there are rabid, absolutely rabid, and they'll go deep. And there's a lot of them that follow the show and talk about first appearances and a lot of that old Gary Painter stuff and early what's his name Matt Groening art and comics, the Hoobie Boo stuff. What was the thing the Simpsons first came from? The Bunny Rabbit comic.
Oh, the Tracy Ullman show.
No, not the Tracy Ullman show. The stuff that he did before that. It was a Life in Hell. That's
Life is Hell.
Life is Hell. Yeah, that type of stuff. Getting those old magazines where those first came in, and first showed up. Yeah. It was a gay bathhouse magazine that they call it. They call it, it's they call it bathing magazines. It's like a style, and what is it called? It's called Raw, and Raw issue 8.
You have all those, right?
I have 3 of them. So to be honest, brother, I have 3 of them. So I'm not ashamed to say it.
Brian going down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, going down the rabbit hole. There you go. Yeah, life is hell, man. Life is hell.
3 of how many are there? Is there a lot of them?
No, there's just one where it first showed up. It's on the very last page of the magazine too, and it's just a little, like 1 inch by 5 inch strip of Life is Hell.
Cool.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
wow.
And then there's a comic that him and Gary Painter did back in the day called Hoobie Boo, where there is a character that's like a little teenage punk kid, and it looks like Bart, just drawn a little bit differently, So that's the type of stuff that you guys know. That's the type of stuff we love to find too. That fun.
Dude, since we're talking about kind of like peripheral stuff, this is actually something I got from Mikey a while back.
Oh,
this is like
that's awesome.
This is Vegeta's first episode, and you can see he has red hair.
Wow,
crazy! It only shows up for like 1 or 2 episodes, so pretty early on. But I just love that kind of stuff where it's like you see the early history of that stuff, like the early adaptation and what becomes a cultural phenomenon. You just never know.
Yeah, that's the type of stuff that Mikey was really into. I remember
loved it.
Yeah, the finding those old animation cells from those old manga series or anime series was his thing, man. That was a sweet spot.
Dude, he loves it. Here's like this is a Bulma, right? Like from that early episode. And then we talked about like the sketch stuff that comes with the cells. I'll show you what that looks like on the back. So you can see like here's the sketch and the cell that comes with it.
So
yeah.
That's awesome.
Pretty cool.
That's great. All right, so let's hear about some other things that you guys picked up. Let's talk about your favorite pickups that you got, because we heard a couple things. I know you guys probably each got a couple things that you really love. Let's start with you, Dinesh. What was your favorite pickups of the show?
I got the Turok 1 cover. My Valiant heart is very full right now. I'm very happy about that. And these masterpieces, so it's all nostalgia for me. I turned my brain off in terms of what is a responsible purchase, and then just 90s stuff, man. So I'm super excited, super happy.
Is there, so what's the next You're always looking for Valiant OA stuff, right? Always.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
That's what I love, dude. I love people that have that huge collecting thing, and they're always searching for the next piece. That's to me that's the reason why we all love talking about this stuff. It's like that. It makes us excited when you know that somebody else got something they really wanted that they've been looking for a long time.
Yeah, I totally know what you mean.
That's awesome, dude. How have you been searching that piece out for a while now, or is it just something where you said, okay, if it ever comes up, I'm just gonna grab it? What?
Oh, Albert, I bought the Unity Zero cover in this like crazy car park deal at New York Comic Con. Albert heard about it, and he was like, "You're an idiot. How much do you spend on that?" And I told him, and he's like, "I've got Turok 1. You should buy that for me." And he'd been kind of working me for about 18 months now. And I had never seen it. He told me he had it. He sent me a picture, and I obviously really wanted it. And he knew I'm a Valiant guy. And he brought it to this show. And I said, well, why'd you bring it? No one's going to buy it. And he's like, I know you're here. You're not going to be able to leave without it. So he turned the screws on me, which is why it was $75K. It shouldn't have been. That's way too much money.
Was there gold foil on it?
There will be soon. You bet your ass there will be. I'll make my own Turok 1.
Oh, dude, that's awesome, man.
Hell yeah, dude.
That's great.
That's what I picked up.
And then you picked up the card. You picked up the card art. How many of the Marvel masterpieces did you end up walking away with?
At the show, I talked Steve into giving me 2, and then I left the show, went to lunch with a bunch of guys. He texted me offering me a 3rd, and then since the show, we've done a deal for 3 more. It's fine. It took 6
Hell
more.
yeah.
But that deal involved, and this was what was cool, that he told me about one of the cards from that set that he really wanted. And he struggled with trying to get it from the guy who had it. And I said, you know what? He's been chasing me for a thing I have. I'll call him. I'll do a trade for the thing I have that he wants. I'll get this one that you love. I'll make sure you get it. And then when I called him and said, I got it for you, he's like, why don't we do a trade for it? You're going to buy these pieces from me. That's cool. And he was so cool about it. We'll do the trade. So we figured out a trade. Everyone's it's a win-win-win.
Yep. That's a perfect
Never
story.
Without on boots on the ground, OAX, that community.
Yep. Yeah. Bringing collectors to their grails over and over and over every year. That needs to be a tagline, right? Some type of tagline at OAX. You know, helping everybody find their grails year after year.
Causing divorces year after year. I like that one more.
Yeah. One time I had it was actually Carbon Arrows, an Action Comics 1 that he had, which I don't happen to have a copy of. And so this is actually a Cal Comic Con, but this a while ago, probably 8-9 years ago. And with an X, I take a picture, the Action Comics 1, 7-0, right? Conserve 7-0. Conserved, but he'd walk around with this thing. I couldn't find him to give it back to him. I'm not kidding at all. And so we're sitting in like this. I take the picture, and I sent the picture, and I remember kind of looking at it, and I think it was worth $700 or $800 at that time because it's about 10 years ago. It says something, and I'm the much smaller time then, just buying and selling, flipping stuff, and he says, "You're gonna sell it, right?" And I'm all, "It's not fucking mine." Right? I'm like, I just got a picture with like the coolest comic, pretty much of all, one of the 2 coolest comics of all time. So, yeah.
Swag, how you doing, my brother?
What up, man?
What's going on?
Hey, Swag.
Good to see you all. I was just listening to the show and listening to you guys do the recap. So it was cool to hear your perspective, but also be there and cross-reference all your guys' experiences.
Well, we're gonna talk about some of your stuff here in a second. I want to ask I want to talk about some of the other pickups real quick. Vinny, what else did you end up picking up? Anything interesting other than what you haven't showed us?
I went through most of my pickups. So that Harley animation cell, I really like the Bart Sears stuff, and I did get a OA page from Wayshack, which I thought was really dope.
Oh, wow.
I love that guy.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Such a nice guy, too.
Yeah.
So I only had 1 day there, so I didn't have a lot of time. And, between being at the table and kind of talking to everybody, I only got to do but so much. But I had a great time, though.
Yeah.
Boo. 1 day, boo. Come on, man.
All right, Mike, what did you end up picking up? You end up pick up anything interesting that you can tell us about?
I got one piece. This was not expected at all. And this actually was a lobby pickup the day before. So it was it's a Tradmore from Venom 150. You know, he did that one Venom issue.
Yep.
And I love this. So if you check, he's in the church, right? You can see it's Eddie Brock. And then in the panel, you see like Venom starting to form here, right? And I don't know if you guys recall, but I have an ASM 300 page that is like Eddie Brock, Venom in the church, like just starting to turn, like transform. So to me, it was like, oh gosh, like it doesn't really fit my collection. Like I really try to stick to just first appearance stuff, but I do love trad stuff. And it just seemed like such a good companion piece to what I had. So I splurged.
Not bad, brother.
Cool page.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
That's cool.
And then, the person I want to ask the most pickup wise is you, Kasra. What did you get anything this weekend?
Are you
really
fucking
wanted?
kidding me? I didn't look through a single portfolio.
Nothing?
No?
I promised myself after the first show that I was going to say hello to every artist there, every exhibitor there, just to take the time to do a circle. I think I said hi to maybe 12.
No
maybe.
way.
I got a Palumbo oil painting, a personal piece from him. He's going to ship it to me after it's being exhibited. And I got some gifts, and I'll just show one of them. Simone Bianchi gifted me this MODOK sketch card.
That's
Very
cool.
That's it.
And he did it on the CAX stock. It's a little mini masterpiece, about as cool as MODOK could look.
Oh,
That's
wow. That is gorgeous.
That was very nice of Simone to do. Yeah.
That's gorgeous.
He was happy because I guess his mom just doesn't care at all about anything that he does. And she came downstairs and she's like, "Who's the little fat man?" And she just fell in love with MODOK.
That's so cute.
And so he's got a little story about his mom caring about his art for a second.
That's amazing.
That's great.
Kasra, I was thinking about you today because I was with my little girl at Target and they were like, I just had some time to kill. So I was looking at the Lego sets and there's a MODOK Lego set right now with Miles.
Wow.
And I think it was Miles and Gwen. That was just so cool. I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing that MODOK made his way to Lego.
Kirby's a genius, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about a little throwaway weird thing from October 67 and it's endured like 55, whatever, 58 years. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I always wondered, and this is going to sound not crazy, but people are going to be like, what the hell? I always wondered if there was always a small part of me that was like, I wonder if Kirby was a closet fucking psychedelic user, man, because his shit.
Oh, no doubt. You've seen his colored pieces, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And some of the personal pieces where he's using like Aztec designs, and I don't. If he didn't use them, someone slipped them.
Yeah, he dabbled. He dabbled somewhere, man. He
dabbled somewhere.
You don't come up with new gods without plant medicine.
Yes, totally.
No, they had the good
Yeah.
stuff back then too. Like
Yeah.
they had the real stuff.
Kirby Crackle.
Yeah,
all
and
that shit.
that's Marvel's entire advantage by starting late.
Yeah.
Was psychedelics,
Right.
and and then the character who could literally do everything was already taken.
Amazing.
And so
Amazing.
the low hanging fruit was gone, and they had better drugs, and that explains the difference between Marvel and DC.
Yeah.
Too funny.
Swag.
Yeah. Oh, Brian, I was going to say I picked up 3 other pieces there that I didn't buy there, but picked them up from a buddy. This is a Sandman page.
Oh, wow.
Dead Boy Detectives, first appearance here.
Wow.
I actually won this by accident on Heritage. I was trying to bid on a different piece that I won, which was this one. This is Lenilia's
Oh my
Moon Knight cover.
gosh, that's
Awesome.
gorgeous.
Unreal. I mean, I
Good
love
Lord.
this cover is so fantastic. So it was the page right before, and I was trying to raise my bid for the Moon Knight cover, and ended up winning the Sandman page, which is hilarious. And then I picked up one other page that's really cool. This has an overlay on it, but it's a Frank Miller homage, but it's Spider Girl. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, beautiful. This is actually going in the Spider-Man exhibit with Marvel and Disney coming
Wow.
out. So yeah,
Okay.
pretty cool.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I love Linnell Francis Hughes, one of my all-time favorite artists.
So, dude, this Moon Knight page is like, it's epic, man. It's like, have you ever seen this? They did this as a sketch cover too.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of my favorite covers of all time.
Yeah.
So
All
good.
those covers that he did for that, those issues were great.
One of the best runs of covers, yeah, for sure.
One of my all-time favorite X-Men artists, obviously. I mean, for a lot of people. But Swag, we kind of geeked out already over your fantastic intro into the con. And I told you how good I thought it was. And, you know, a lot of the guys on the panel all remarked about that.
People know that I was singing Book of Mormon, right? Like that didn't go over people's head, right?
I don't know what Book of Mormon is. I other than the Book of Mormon. So
that's what I was saying. There was not a lot of people that, you know, shouted that out. So I was like, oh man, did I just?
No, I had no
I mean,
idea.
I'm always embarrassing myself on camera, but I mean, like, did I really, miss with this one? But
it worked, dude.
Thank you. Yeah,
They knew you were connecting it to something, Swag, because there's no supporting the fact that Orlando's one of the greatest cities in the world. So you were,
it's the one Orlando song I know. You know,
Yeah.
shout out to the South Park creators.
Yeah.
I think it's just the one Orlando song. That's it. Like, I don't think there's any other Orlando song.
Yeah.
It was pretty awesome though, man. And how long did that take you to kind of come up with the whole idea of you doing that?
It was off the cuff for the most part. I mean, like I take kind of mental notes. You know, like I saw like Dinesh's portfolio, so I knew like, oh, by the time I walk over to that table, I'm gonna like flip through, and so I kind of like knew where to walk and talk. But you know how it is. It's like I'm just trying to multitask because I'm at the show and I want to be present. I just want to hang out and look around, but I'm also like, oh, I better make a video. So like the motivation is, can I just do this in one take, do my video, and be able to post it, and then not have to worry about, you know, editing after the fact. So I'm hoping people like the vlog thing because it's
do more.
Yeah, it's not. It streamlines it. That's what I'll say. It streamlines the entire
I
process.
want to know how you kept a straight face and didn't. I would have gotten pissed off all that work with Big Phil interrupting you like that.
The thing is, that you just keep going. Like there's no expectations of like what I'm supposed to capture. So it's like, you know, when he comes up to me, it's like, all right, this is the video now. You know what I mean? Like you just.
And literally,
just
he was like,
Mayweather
I
the whole
watched
thing.
the channel. Like he knew what he was doing too.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? He knew that was being recorded to be shown by one of the premier comic.
Big Phil's like, I didn't fly all the way from Pittsburgh
from
not to be on YouTube.
Nope,
That was as
opportunist.
simple as that.
Nice.
Yeah, dude. He knew.
Not only
When
that,
people have the app, you know, you're at a game, and you know, you sit behind the announcers or whatever, and it's halftime, and they're talking. You go like that.
Yeah.
Right? You know you're gonna be on freaking TV.
Yeah.
You're waving at somebody. You know.
Not only that, he you know, it was a perfect moment. It was a perfect like you know, chance for you to go back and talk about that exhibit, which is probably the best exhibit at the con, one of the best things about the con, which is really cool.
Well, it's funny because when he came up to me and was talking to me, it's like he was saying some stuff and I was listening, but it kind of went a little over my head, right? Because I'm like holding and I'm thinking about like, okay, what am I going to talk about next? But then it was really cool when I walked over to his exhibit. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, oh, this is what he was talking about, you know? So it was really cool to see that. And it was, I mean, just some of the pieces. And I don't know if it's all of his, but just even the Luke Cage pages that were there and like, or some of the other ones, the ASM 51. And some Kirby Black Panthers. So it was a really cool setup.
One of the coolest moments that you got to see, you also got to film. Not all of it. You talk about it in your videos, but there's one moment I want to play that it was actually cool that you kind of captured, and of course that's Dinesh talking about the pieces that he ends up, some of the pieces he ends up buying. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this for everybody.
So all 6 of them that I have with the different like colors matching on it. The velvet is so good. Yeah. So they all have velvet. They're all the same size. And they all when you see them, like the Sleepwalker is green, like a dark green to match it. Maybe purple. Where's your frame? How much cost the frame? It's like $600.
I always love that type of thing, that fly on the wall type of thing that you did there. That's some of my favorite type of entertainment content that I watch is that type of content, and you kind of did that for a lot of that weekend, which was super cool.
Yeah, I wish I actually got to film, Dinesh, your actual conversation, because it was pretty amazing.
I thought you got some of that. I thought you got the back half of that. No.
Well, I didn't want to film it because I felt like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think if I filmed you, it'd be fine, but I don't know Steve that well, so I didn't want to be like, filming him as you guys are negotiating. So I didn't want to be rude, but it would have been really cool to see for sure, because just how the entire process works. And like, that's one of my big takeaways from the weekend was just watching Dinesh and Mike operate and how you guys like talked about stuff. And so flooded my head with tons of ideas. I've already spent money since I've gotten home. And
we've enabled it.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this.
Totally enabled.
Yeah. All the backroom Magic the Gathering, playing with alpha sets, and which is an amazing part of your video.
That was insane. I mean, we got a text and it was like, I'm playing with like $500,000 of cards right now. Like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the first. I don't know much about Magic. That's the very first set, right? And every card is super collectible.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Black Lotus is in that, and it's like it's like the action one of Magic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Playing with them.
Wild.
From 93, it's the alpha set. It's like, I don't know what the print count is, but they're genuinely pretty rare. I think that there's only 2.
He's got a pristine
PSA.
10. He's got the pristine.
Yeah, PSA 10.
And it's a pop too.
Yeah, he's got the BGS Black Label.
So that one is like
52 tops mantle in your bicycle spokes.
Exactly.
Yeah. I like the sound it makes, Mom.
That's exactly the same type of thing, man. But it's funny because Swag goes, but it's okay. They have sleeves on them, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're good.
They're fine. Lightly played.
You can't drop them or anything. There's plastic sleeves on them.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what's funny that I didn't catch? So there is a card in Magic that it's called Chaos Orb. And how it actually works when you're supposed to play the game is you're supposed to take the card and you literally drop it when you play it. And how it's supposed to flip in the air. So the card is explained like this. Oh, you pick up the card and you drop it, and whatever card it touches on the play set, it destroys that card. So it's kind of like this randomized chance. So you're legitimately supposed to flip it. So here's this card that's like thousands of dollars from the alpha set. And Steve's just like, Carl's like, oh, I want to play it. And Steve's like, yeah, just fling it.
Oh God.
And I was like, what? We're taking this, we're actually doing the mechanic. And so Carl like apprehensively did it. And then it like didn't hit a card. And he's like, oh no, let's do it again. So like, tempted fate again and threw it.
I like how Carl said he was so nervous. He was chewing gum as fast as he could. He's like just
grinding his teeth.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite moment?
I got this high before I started.
What was your favorite moment from the weekend, Swag?
I think just getting to see the galleries. I think that's a really. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, nice.
I think it was like that last year, but I just wasn't expecting to see, the pieces that were there and like the different kinds of gallery sets. Like the fantasy stuff and the Marvel card art, and just getting to see that. Because it's fine art. It's a piece of history. So. Seeing that stuff in person is definitely something really special. So that was probably my favorite part. And then, just hanging out with everybody. We had an amazing omakase dinner. That was really good.
Nice.
We went there 3 nights in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too much.
It was crazy.
The server was just like, again, like for real.
They laughed. The third time we walked in, they were literally belly laughing. Like, you guys again?
Which place, guys? Do you remember the name?
It's called Soseki. It's phenomenal.
You guys went to Soseki 3 nights in a row? You spoiled brats?
Not me, man. I was a one and done, man.
Damn. You gotta be kidding.
I can just sell a lot more art before 3 nights in a row.
Yeah, you guys are wild.
I love it. Casper's like, you play with an alpha deck? No problem. Soseki 3 nights in a row? That's great.
I'm surprised you got a table 3 nights in a row at Soseki.
Shaheen booked way out in advance.
That makes sense.
Night, and then we just, I guess, spent too much money, so they were happy to have us back.
That was great.
Those are the best parts, man. Creating those memories. That's why we love these. It's another reason why we love these events. I mean, you get to
like Brian's first fish at Nobu last year.
Yeah, first sushi. I never had sushi before.
Like, how's this gonna go?
That
I'm like,
dinner
it's fish, dude. He's all, it's a fish place. I'm like, Nobu. I'm all, Pretty
Yep.
fish based. Just pretty fish based.
Not my favorite food, but some of my favorite company. Like that was a legendary dinner full of some pretty epic people there.
Yeah.
Sending Rob Liefeld some peanut butter cups.
Dude, he was like, "What?" I was texting with him after, and he's like, "Yeah, everyone at the table said don't eat those. Like they thought it was like poison. Like, some crazy fan is giving you peanut butter cups that are poison."
I saw somebody talk. I saw him talk about that on. I think it was a Whatnot sale or something. He talked about it or a podcast or.
Oh yeah,
that was very cool.
Yeah, it was fun. That was a fun dinner.
He's another guy that's really big into original art. His podcast, Robservations, he always talks about original art and the original art world, the game, and how important it is and how crazy it's getting. Is there any? I mean,
it was his rep I was sitting next to at Nobu.
Glenn Brunswick from Panel Page Art. Yeah,
nice guy.
Yeah, the rumor is Rob will not come to Florida.
Oh,
he's just. It's not.
We'll keep it as a rumor.
It's not his gig. I don't think. I don't think he tends to buy privately, either through auction or through private collectors.
Yeah.
Maybe if I get John Byrne to come, Rob will show up.
Damn.
I don't know. I don't know. Based on some of the stories I've heard.
I'm joking.
That would be amazing.
Kind of joking.
Yeah. West Coast. Get a West Coast show. Rob may show up.
That would be cool. Is there thoughts of that? Maybe changing the spot every once in a while?
Not for now. I mean, I could make something up, but nah. I was thinking about Vegas the last few days, but nah, not for now.
Yeah.
Nah.
Well,
changing the venue, yeah. Like I'd like to be out of there by year 4 or 5 in Orlando, though.
Yeah. It was a good venue for the size right now.
Thank you. It's a good startup space. It's cheap. It's easy to get to. It's comfortable. There's just enough stuff there.
Universal's around the corner for people who are bringing families.
Yeah, it's really limiting. Past the year, it's a little limiting for me.
Yeah.
Assuming it was a hotel or
hotel venue combo. Yeah, it's really just super easy. You can go up to your room and go to the bathroom and back in 5 minutes, kind of thing.
Yeah, it was epic. It was really cool. Honestly, like any comic collector who has any interest, even the slightest interest in original art or just chatting with the artists who make comics, like I can't recommend it enough. It's not an expensive show for what you're doing. It's very, very doable. And like if you're Midwest or East, you could do it in 2 days if you really wanted to do it. But to me, I'm coming from California, and I think the benefit was there. It's not just the show time. It's all the stuff that happens outside of the show time. All the connections you make. I mean, the bars, people were out until 2 a.m. every night, like without fail. Groups of 20 plus people were hanging out talking about art. I mean, that's awesome.
That's something I wanted to kind of hit on because that's also what we have. We have MegaCon this weekend, and MegaCon. A lot of people talk about MegaCon being such a great con and moving up the ranks because of where it's at in that bar scene and that type of thing. Yeah. So, which is very interesting. So I'm all for that. I think that to me, that's my favorite part of going to cons. I mean, comic books, I'm there for comic books because of comic books and everything, but I just like going and hanging out with my friends, and there's something special about that, especially how a lot of us now, we're so all over the country, all over the world for that matter. Yeah. And these are places where we get to create cool memories and stuff like that. So,
I mean, look at San Diego. We go every year. We bring a big group down there. We spend very little time at the actual show, right? The benefit or the thing that I look forward to is not the show itself. It's the stuff around the show. It's the poolside bar. It's our, we have an Indian dinner on one night of a 5-night period. It's the ferry rides from Coronado, right? Like those are the things that I love. We do a beach day. We go out and surf one day. Like those are not anything that's actually comic book related, but those are the things like I remember last year, this is a true story. This is probably too much information, but I'll share it outside of our group.
Let's hear it.
Let's go, please.
This is 2 years ago. We were in San Diego, and it's our beach day. And I look at a couple of buddies, and I'm like, "Yo, guys, like, how much do you think a memory's worth? Like, would you pay $20 for like something you'll never forget again? And they're like, yeah,
That sounds
sure.
like a line. I've heard that line in Amsterdam before.
Well, this is for the families. This is G-rated.
Bro, that was 100 guilders, but I guess at a certain point that was $20.
Yeah, before the euro. Yeah,
we bought an inflatable shark, and we're surfing an inflatable shark at Del Mar, and watching people like run up on the beach, and we were like wrestling the shark. It was like $20, but it was like stupid fun, and no one who was there will ever forget that. And the people on the beach will never forget like what a bunch of jackasses we were. But it was, I mean, that's the stuff you don't like. It's not comic related, but comics are the things that brought us together, right?
Yeah,
that's what I love about the hobby.
Yeah, Wednesday Comic-Con, man, San Diego, Wednesday to Sunday. Dude, I barely sleep, man.
Yeah,
you know, I love being in the gas lamp.
Yeah,
you can't just the walk aroundness. Like I haven't done wherever Orlando's at, but I mean done C2E2, even New York.
Yeah,
and I'll just be honest, like there's nothing like the gas lamp, and even when it's like in July, if it's a hot one, it's like 87.
Yeah,
you know, and that's because you got a backpack on. You might be sweating out your beer from the night before.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's with that, man. I don't do as much as the beach stuff and everything like that, but like I'll just but the same thing, just being with people, but inside and outside, trying to figure out what you want to do, what you want to buy, who you want to see, anything up and coming you want to see, it's kind of the thrill of the hunt to chase down some of the exclusives and things like that. The super rare stuff and not the jerk stuff. And I know, you wander around, and the cool thing is if you've been there a bunch of times, you kind of know the layout.
Yeah.
Like you pretty much know where everybody's at. Like last year with Brian, we were looking we knew Dan Perrin to drop a book, and I'm like, no, he's nowhere near anybody else. He's on the comics, but he's on like the toy artist side of the comics. It's weird, but he's always on this corner. And there he sits. And that's it. Navigating Artist Alley, none of that makes sense. Their letters and numbers don't line up. But I have no idea why, but that always happened. But other than that, man, it's just a good time.
San Diego, if you do a search for mechanical bulls in San Diego, Yelp has a top 10 list of places with mechanical bulls.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love it out there.
My favorite city in the world.
That's it. I'm in California.
Well, let me tell a story real quick.
Yeah.
I'm retelling it.
And Dinesh knows that I work like Dr. Strange.
Yeah.
Dinesh, Vinny.
So,
right, and I got Dr. Strange. Let's just say I can figure out where we should go.
So I think it was like maybe 2 years ago, might have been 2 or 3 years ago. I can't remember. For me, San Diego is that reset. I treat San Diego like, okay, this is my reset, both like mentally, physically, everything. It's that reset. And I try to do some type of psychedelic every time I can. And so I go out there, I take a bunch of mushrooms. I'm sorry.
Sorry, dude.
Psychedelic. Yes. Psychedelic.
Go to the peyote.
Psychedelic. What do they call in the ground, where you put them in the ground and they're like mushrooms, but they're underground?
The truffles?
Truffles. Psychedelic truffles. Okay. And from that guy right there, right next to me, I'm throwing him out. I'm throwing him out on the front street, and he goes, "Hey man, yeah, don't worry, it's probably not too bad. Yeah, go ahead and take it." So I just take a bunch of them, and I'm out with James from Hive Comics in the middle of the night, walking back to the con or walking back to our Airbnb, and we're in the middle of the gas lamp district, right above that one of those places with the mechanical bull. And a fight breaks out in the middle of the street, and it turns out to be this like 30 police car event at 2 a.m. and I am flying.
Yeah.
Just like, wow, this is pretty amazing, man. And it was awesome. It was fucking great. It was so much fun. It was unreal. So that's how.
I saved the psychedelics for home. But you guys, we have some good drinking and whatever days in San Diego, man. That's a good time to me. But I do like the con stuff. But I mean, I basically do comic books for a living, so I'm in the con a lot. You know,
Speaking
and
of,
I don't have a booth. I don't need one. I'd spare with someone. Yeah, we got, or with with this guy.
Yeah.
This one of my literally
speaking of
Drew's one of my best
cons,
friends.
this is
We've been
one of our
working
good
together for a
friends.
very long time. This is the OG. Drew is the OGest online comic dealer, in my opinion, that exists. He's been running Sunday auctions, which obviously doesn't have to. He's been doing live auctions since whatnot instead of Sunday auctions for like 20 years. This is the guy that said he never needed a brick and mortar, left a seat on Wall Street 20 years ago to go onto eBay, and has more books than anybody on the planet.
So here's the funny thing about all this. I'm showing you guys what Drew looks like. Well, our boy Clutch decided to pull off something absolutely amazing that I'm going to show you guys right now. Check this out. Shout out to Clutch for pulling this off. This is pretty amazing. Drew had no idea about this.
He said he didn't know if he was catching on or not, but anyway.
Yeah, this was earlier today. Let me play this.
Oh.
They made it.
We should call that Drew You Poo. If you guys watch his videos of him jumping in his backyard with the little gazebo looking thing and the thing, the clear pool. He doesn't have ninja swords, but it's a Do You Poo book with the Dodgers hat that he constantly has on. Did he have it on the video right there?
Yeah.
With the Wanted Comics logo. Should say Drew You Poo, but other than that, man, that is absolutely amazing.
That's cool.
Look, he's got the hat on.
Yeah. That's cool.
That is good. So he jumped in whenever. So I press his books. So, and he's almost the only person I press for now. And then he did. So basically, whenever he gets a 10, he jumps in that pool.
Mm-hmm.
So he opens up. He has his wife film when he opens up the CGC boxes. He'll never let me. I submit everything for him, and I never tell him the grades. Like if there's a weird box or something like that, and I'll be like, dude, there's some 9.2s or something. You got your grader didn't have a good morning, saying a little different way. But so anyway, so he doesn't know the grades, and he's like, am I jumping in the pool? It's cold, man. Sometimes I'll be like, nah, you're not going in the pool. Sometimes you're going in the pool. But yeah, so Sean sent those out. But yeah, so I've got a Drew You Poo that I got yesterday. He did all the he did the foils, the magmas, a 1-of-1 gold medal that he's giving to Drew. Wow. Because if you do any of these books with Marat or any of his crew, you can look on the Counterpoint Comics website. You can see the different type of books you can do. So he's got 5-of-5s and 20-of-20s, and everything like that. So this is great. He sent these to everybody, but I only live about maybe 90 or 100 miles from Clutch, so mine got here pretty much overnight. But yeah, so this is pretty cool, man. So that's just this shout out to
Clutch.
That's our community, though, man. That's friendship,
Yep.
That's it.
Yep. That's the
All
fun
right,
stuff.
I have an admission to make.
Yeah,
quickly, and hopefully I don't lose
Later,
my
Vinny.
nerd card.
Appreciate you, Vinny.
Later,
It's good
Vinny.
seeing you, brother.
All right,
I'll call
brother.
you
See
the
you,
next
Vinny.
couple days.
Congrats on how
You know that Chris Pratt meme where he's like, I'm afraid to ask the question. It's been so long. I'm afraid to ask. This is me with Do You Poo. Brian, can you just explain to me, what is Do You Poo? I've seen it. I kind of think I know what it is, but for someone who has a comic YouTube channel, I could not make a 10-minute video about it. I don't know enough.
Have you ever seen the Do You Poo? What's inside the Do You Poo?
There can be different stories, but they're mostly the same. It's mostly the same story.
Yeah.
Right. So it's mostly the same
Show
story.
the interiors, yeah.
Yeah. So let me see here. Sorry,
So it's the same.
I should have turned.
Comic
They're
story
not
always
they're
printed.
It's almost always the same. There are some different ones, like they did that the Venom Mouse and stuff like that. But so it started off when the Pooh license became available, or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
So it started. So that's what happened. Just way with they're doing with the Mickey now, or Steamboat Willie, whatever.
Yeah.
So the thing is, they do that, And so here's the random stuff that I want to say about it is that Marat has rabid fans. They do different things in different places you're gonna go. Like, so Drew's got I don't have any here to send, otherwise I'd show you. Drew's got the Otanis, Drew's got the Kobe's, they've got the Jordans, the shoes. He does, and it's happened to be a thing that go to these cons that people kind of, the colloquial or local sort of things that they show. So the other thing about them, Marat's an accessible guy. And since the live shows, you can get yours signed on air. He'll do a remark or sketch occasionally on them, depending on the book. But he's got big fans. They're all funny. And I'll tell you what, this is the other thing that you don't see on the secondary market. These are some of the only books that rarely lose value. Like this Raw, it's a picture of my buddy on here. Like, I love you, Drew. This is never going to be like a number. It's numbered. They're all numbered. This is 14 out of 25. So 25 trade dresses. This is number 14. It's never this. This isn't going to be like $100 book because I don't know. Drew,
he's grew a ton of fans. Is what he's done. He's
So I'm telling you, if you look at they're the books that don't go down, and they keep them limited and numbered, and that is pretty smart. There's leather covers, there's metal covers, there's every different type of, I don't know if you call them foil or refractor, whatever. They look kind of, almost like a baseball card refractor, something like that. So they just have just a ton of these things, rabid fan base. A lot are sold live, and they tend to retain value. And if you look on their site, if you look at Counterpoint Comics, there's a thing that they have a minimum that you have to agree to, a minimum amount that you'll sell these for. If you have them made, you can work with Marat. He'll do a cover for you. You can buy whatever you want. I know Marat, he's the big dog over there. So I assume he has, a different type of minimums than artists that he hires. And anyway, so they'll say like whatever the price levels are, you're not allowed to sell them for less. I mean, I don't know. Can't tell you the legalities of that, but they don't tend to do that. You don't see them, man. And I have to, and I wouldn't know this, except that I have been the CGC witness for the Marat and Drew shows. So where Marat brings a personal collection going back like 5, 8, 9 years, however long he's been doing this. So I've happened to see like hundreds of different covers where honestly most people don't see them. I see them up close and personal because I make sure they're pristine before they go to CGC. So I'm like, holy shit, he's been doing this for a long time, and collectors eat it up. They're not going to be in Overstreet, not that there's much need for that. No offense, sorry everybody, but not. It is what it is.
So what you're saying
it's a sought after thing. There's only 5 covers, man. It's never going to hit cover price if there's only one sale, unless it's a shaker sale.
Yeah.
So
I just need to
don't know.
One Steamboat Willie story, and then I'll call the book "Flip You a Mickey," and we're just going to do all kinds of Mickey Mouse covers.
I like it.
Bro, you know what? You might have legally a bigger right to use Mickey than, let's just say, someone else, right?
So, don't fuck with Disney, man. It's not worth it.
Oh no, but the steamboats are everywhere, man. I know there's Steamboat Willie, there's Symbiote Willie. So he does Symbiote Willie, but he'll do whatever. He'll do LA Comic Con, so he's got Tupac and Biggie covers. He has.
I got some speculation, some funny speculation stuff for that, because here's an interesting, and I have a question that will jump back to original art on this stuff. Sure. Dead Poo or Do You Poo is a fucking phenomenon. You can't doubt that. You can't say it's not, right? What about the first appearance
100%.
of that character, which was this Dead Poo #1 from Antarctic Press in 2012? People aren't even thinking about it. I wonder, does Marat have the original art for this? Right?
I don't know.
Is there original
Was
art
it
for
2012? See, 13 years of this. I called it like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Oh, per your question about Marvel Rivals art, Brian, and from inspiration from Mike, I did slide into the DMs of the artists who worked on the Marvel Rivals comic, and I asked them, I was like, "Oh, is this artwork digital?" And unfortunately, it was. I was prepared. I was prepared
Keep
to buy
going.
that.
Keep going. I bet there's more than one artist. I bet there's more than one.
Yeah. Yeah. And West Coast, talk about a story. West Coast Dave was saying that when he went to Japan, he saw Peach Momoko at a con out there.
Yeah.
And she had for sale the Galacta and Jeff the Landshark original art page.
Yep.
And it was only $3,000.
Yeah.
And I was like, why didn't you buy it? And he was like, oh, I don't know. I didn't think to do it or whatever. And I was like, oh,
I kick
I'm
myself
sure
for not buying
now, but
I kick
hit up
myself
Peach.
for not buying a Ghost Rider original cover from her at San Diego. Damn it, did we just disconnect again? Hold on. All right, there we go. We're back. Do you have any good stories from the con that you didn't really talk about in the videos? That was fun?
I don't know if I have, not one off the top of my head, although I did buy an art piece that for me is quite expensive, and it's supposed to arrive tomorrow, but I got motivated after going to OAX, so I didn't really buy anything there. But I got video game art actually.
Ooh.
And Kajra, you were saying how because I've worked a lot for Wizards of the Coast, and I've worked for Riot Games and Blizzard and all this stuff. So I've always loved the gaming art, and it's cool because you never know if the key art for that stuff is digital or if it's actually created. And so I'm really enjoying that hunt just to even find out what it is. So I'm buying Blizzard World of Warcraft art books, and then look through their art, and it'll say oh, this was digitally done or this was painted. And I'm finding out who the artists are, and so that's kind of my hunt that I'm enjoying. But yeah, I bought a key art for World of Warcraft, a game, and it's quite cool. It's a really cool fantasy piece, even outside of my
is it published
the nerdiness. But yeah,
it's published art.
Yeah, it's published art. I'll do a whole breakdown because I think it's if people think it's interesting. I mean, for me, I just share my experience, but just the whole process of having to make an offer on a piece that it's kind of you can't quantify how much it's worth because there's really not many sales to base it off of. But it was just someone on CAF who had it. He's a big Warcraft collector, and he has a bunch of these art pieces. And so I was talking to Carl a lot, Dinesh, and going back and forth with him. And then he was sending me text from some other guy and was just saying oh, don't offer this. If you offer this, you're going to get, blocked and deleted, and so it was interesting where it's you kind of, I mean, I don't know if this is true, but Carl was basically telling me, he was you only have one chance. You only get one offer. And then it's kind of you're not for real.
Carl
So
was creating the conditions for you to do the deal. I don't know if that's true, but that sounds like a good tactic.
Carl just told me he sold a piece of World of Warcraft art to some sucker.
Damn. You know what? But it's fine now because I'm gonna pump it up on my channel. I'm gonna say how valuable it is. I'm gonna go for that Twitch audience. And that's the other thing too. It's all those influencer Twitch streamers. Imagine if they knew that they could take their disposable income and gaming art.
I was thinking about that today, bro. All these people that are getting into Marvel Rivals, like Tim the Tatman and all these big streamers, right? Once if they really get into this game and it brings them into the collectible world, it could be a really big add-on for them for their content.
Yeah, because right now all those guys like the Logan Pauls and Tim Tatmans and all those gamer people, it's they'll buy Pokemon cards because they know that's a thing, and maybe they'll buy a graded video game, but I don't think it occurs to them that it's oh, you could buy the original art piece.
And you know what?
Such as
I mean, look, go philosophically, politically if you want, but about rising tide lifts all boats or whatever you want to say. Let's just talk about on your Tuesday show, Brian, about pivoting and to keep that pivot going before before you're screwed. So getting outside people involved when we've got things I don't know, Diamond most likely not going to be bought and people not going to be able to get things like comics in a few months, narrowly missing for now Canadian tariffs with printings and things like that, stuff like that's difficult for those of us that live in the print world. So any little thing we can get, man, from the outsiders, the help from the video games, and that's what I think.
Amen. Well, that's kind of why I was talking, and I don't know if Swag, if you heard this, but I was telling Mike, you know, it'd be great to have some of the original video game art of them designing characters and designing skins, but also think about all the original art from those skins' first appearances, like people searching out original art from that Malice, the first appearance of the Malice costume in that Fantastic Four. People searching out for original art of the first time, what's his name, took on the Swordmaster costume, Ling Li, you know, Jeff the Shark original art in the games, you know, like you're talking about that. But you can get the pages from those books probably pretty cheap. I doubt that, you know, Fantastic Four 281 original art, a page from that book is, you know, crazy expensive, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the gameplay. If there's a skin that you really like in that game, find out where it first appeared, go search out the panels and see if you can find one of those pieces on Comic Art Fans or at OAX, or, you know, get into we've talked about them many times on the show. You can search the old videos of whenever we do these original art shows of how to get into these things and get into these worlds. It's very open. It's very accessible right now. Other artists, other collectors, other power brokers in the original art world are very accessible. I mean, that's the important part about all this, right?
And they like to help.
Yeah.
Good community. People like to help.
Yeah. Yeah. So
it's hard to. I was to say.
Go
I
ahead.
think it's hard to start from zero, though. You have to ask around and really, like, you know, network, or, you know, find people that can hold your hand and guide you through. Because, like, you know, I'm learning, but like as I learn, it's like I get obsessive over it. So I you know, go through the crash course like really hard, but it takes a lot to figure it all out and learn to navigate. But it's fun.
Here's a question. You just got done doing the HorrorCon setup. You set up there for Sanity. What's the deal with original art pages for Sanity? I mean, is there anybody that can reach out to you and get, you know, pages from that, or is that all gobbled up? Are they there?
Yeah, I have them. I have a few that are mine that I'm keeping, and then, you know, I sold some on my Kickstarter. That was like one of the tiers that people could get, but I bought them from my artist so that we could use them for the Kickstarter. But yeah, I mean, it's I feel like the art is like a really cool thing to add to, you know, Kickstarters and stuff. And I think Bad Idea, you guys have had some of that, you know, some of those as the incentives and things. And I think that's, you know, an extra special thing that you can get. But yeah, I mean, some people have hit me up about it, a couple people that are into it. And I think as it grows, like, maybe it'll get more, you know, more interesting for people.
Yeah.
It's cool. That's smart, man.
Hey, you know, also, I know that you went to Cal Comic Con right after that, or during whatever, you know. So Cal Comic Con's been the gold, silver, premier. You call it, you know, it's a smaller show. I don't know how much bigger it would have been this year than it has been in years past, but it's been premier for the good old boys showing up. There's like 40, 50 comic dealers, but they've all got like 10-foot booths. And so they don't need that much space. There's no t-shirts, no candy, nobody selling you garage door openers or insurance or anything like that. So, but I remember going throughout the years and not knowing, going back, you know, 10, 12 years ago when I got heavy, 15 years ago now, when I got back heavier into comics, that they would have a decent amount of original art there. Did you see much of it? Did you see much of it on Saturday when you went there? Or
yeah,
Saturday,
there were
Sunday,
a couple. Yeah, there were a couple art dealers there, and I think that there were some dealers that were at OAX, but I don't know them by name.
Right.
But it was for sure. Even at that show, in a small way, I could feel people talking about the art, or even like the other comic dealers. You know, thinking about like, oh, how do I get some art in my booth as well?
Right.
I kind of feel like it's even those guys, you know, that sell comic books and stuff are sort of like, oh, you know, let me get my hands on a couple art pages, or can I also offer this as well to people? Because I think, you know, they probably feel the draw from as a lot of people are.
Yeah. All right, we're getting ready to end this, but I do want to, speaking of Kickstarters, I do want to ask Dinesh, updates on bad idea stuff. You know, we talked a little bit about the tariffs and stuff, and there was a big story on Bleeding Cool, and it sounds like the tariffs have been pushed back, and Hank Howard Pizza Detective is still continuing on, and you know, you guys are gonna be working on getting everybody those guarantees here.
Yeah, no, we were never. There was never any threat that it was not going to go on. It was only a threat that we were going to eat our lunch. We have a book. I chuckled when you said it because I can't believe the words Hank Howard Pizza Detective came out of your mouth. It's such a silly concept. We have this book. It ends in about 10 hours, I think. We're very happy with where it is. It's a great book. Robin Diddy wrote it. David Lapham drew it, and we had like Alex Maleev and Rizzo and Sorrentino, a bunch of Miko Soyan. Thanks, man. That's very kind of you. A bunch of people come in and like, look at that Alex Maleev cover. Rico Renzi's logo. And we did this, we decided, because we're idiots, to mimic the 30 minutes for your pizza is free Domino's deal. So which we looked up. No one's ever fulfilled a campaign on Kickstarter for a comic in 30 days, at least not a hardcover. And so we said, we will make sure that this hardcover is finished, printed, and ships to you within 30 days of the end of the campaign. So 30 days starting in 10 hours, or your entire order is free. And so if you want to go big and gamble that we can't ship books out, because we are late on another book on Megalith, because the artist has health issues, so we're very late on that. We would do it. And the tariffs came in, and we were like, oh my God, this is going to kill the price of the book. And we were told it's going to slow down shipping. So there was a 2-day period there where we were like, okay, I guess we're about to eat a couple $100,000. Luckily, they've been paused for a while. And I think we're going to squeak just under the wire.
Good.
So we're happy about that.
It's good to hear.
You know, that's something that we talk quite a bit in this channel over the last, you know, couple months now, is the world of comics. And it's nice to kind of get away and just talk about the stuff that we love and fun stuff like original art. So I really want to thank Kasra for joining us tonight and jumping on with us. And I hope you realize that we're going to bug you more and more now to have you jump on with us and hang out.
No, I thank you. Thanks for having me on. Honestly, that was a great panel. That was a great talk. Thank you guys. Swag, thank you. The video was great. The walkthrough was amazing. That was amazing. That was like a day-long production with a small team, and you did it on your own. So thanks, man. Brian, anytime. Anytime. Yeah. If you've got Dennis on, I'll come on too. He's hilarious.
I know, man. I know you love him.
Yeah.
So.
That's what Dinesh said.
Yeah.
I tried, Brian, this week. Brian wouldn't let me. He's like, no. It's not good for anybody.
I haven't talked to him in forever, but he's always a good time.
Yeah. Dennis is one of our favorites here at the channel, and we love the guy. He actually just started his own new thing. And to be honest, listen, him and Jesse were two of the guys that have as well as Dinesh and you know, Big Clutch and a lot of guys in industry that I know. Ross Ritchie, a lot of guys in whether they're retailers, you know, Drew at Wanted Comics, Bird City Comics, or big industry guys have really supported this channel and what we do over here at Beyond Wednesdays. And more important, I've created, you know, what I hope are good friendly relationships with these guys, and I consider them great friends, and I can't thank them enough, and as well as everybody that joins us. More importantly, I think that the guys that helped me co-host the channel, like Leg, and you know, a lot of the guys who aren't on here, Vinny, but you know, Swag is also another guy that I got a lot of respect for, and hope to be doing more in the future with him. And I agree with you on that. You know, his video for OAX was fantastic, and I think he's getting better and better every video he puts out. So make sure you guys go check out
freestyle, baby.
Yep.
That swag.
Freestyle.
Yeah.
Swag freestyle, baby.
Yeah. And
listen,
go ahead,
one
brother.
take.
No, I was just I do it outside of my YouTube already. So I'm like, we got to minimize the production effort that it takes on YouTube.
By the way, Brian, you got me thinking about the FF281 original art, and I just took a quick look at that Malice cover by Byrne. It's inked by Ordway. It's on Comic Art Fans by Ron S. I don't know if you know him, Dinesh. Prominent collector out of Chicago. It's a thing of beauty. if anyone wants to see the original art for the cover, there it is.
Can you put it
Can
in
I
the
post
private
it?
chat? I would love to look at it
Oh
before
yeah,
we call
put it
it a
right
night.
here.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna go hang out backstage and bullshit for a little bit, you guys. I want to say thank you to everybody that's hung out with us all show. And we're gonna be back. I'll be back tomorrow. I got a whatnot sales leg. Do you have an eBay sale tomorrow?
I have eBay sale tomorrow and Friday, both, man. 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern. I'll be rocking for 2 hours. I'm leading into Drew. Not that he needs it. He's got pushes. So check one in comics too. It's either, I forget if it's tomorrow or if it's on Friday. He's got Ariel Diaz and Soza Mike on the same show, signing stuff. So they're gonna let Drew handle that, and good on him, dude. So let's do that. You can buy your cheap stuff from me, and then you can go on and get some autographs from Ariel Diaz and Soza Micah, and the other ones I think are Marat show. But I'll be on at 4 o'clock California time, 7 o'clock Eastern, the next 2 days for about 2 hours live selling you stuff.
Look at this.
So yeah, at Big Leg on eBay, at Big Leg Instagram, at Big Leg everywhere.
There you go, you guys. Perfect example of what we're talking about.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
yeah, you can click on it too. That'll enlarge. He's got a larger scan.
Wow.
Ordway
Fantastic.
Can you see if, Brian? Can you see if there's any recent comments? I'm curious if like anyone has navigated to the if you scroll down.
There's a lot of comments, so you're gonna have to scroll a little while.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Maybe not the best FF
no.
cover, but really
23.
no, nothing recent.
Yep.
Wow.
Got to get the Twitch audience on the on cap.
Beautiful cover.
Yep. So that's what we're talking about, guys. And we're going to be doing, more shows OA, on this night and this show. So make sure you guys check it out. For everybody that wants to check out any of the Kickstarters that we talked to tonight, there is a link in the description for all those. And there's also a link in the live chat that I'll be pinning as well. So make sure you guys all check that out and go show some love. Shout out to everybody that supports comics in any way possible, and we'll see you guys next time. Adios.